9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story: prosecutors have charged the father of a teen police claim was involved in the fatal shooting of a Ben Lomond High School student earlier this month. Prosecutors have filed charges against Fernando Renteria. He's accused of helping his teenage son leave the country after the shooting and allegedly lying to police about it after the fact. He is now facing 2 felony counts of obstruction of justice. A 5-year-old boy in Hurricane has a long road to recovery after a dog bit his face, causing serious damage.
They will have to go in and keep doing reconstruction in terms of like plastic surgery and stuff. And they still have to keep an eye on the nerves that were damaged during the attack.
Brooke Chugg says her son Leo loves to play outside, and he was playing with his sister when he saw a dog and tried to give it a hug. Leo is going to need reconstructive surgery, and they are worried about potential long-term nerve damage. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: nearly 1.5 million federal workers have now missed their first full paycheck. ABC's Jim Ryan says that for many, desperation is setting in.
Working for the Department of Housing and Urban Development seemed like a sure path to job security at a nice retirement.
Never thought in a million years I would be in line to get some food.
She started her job at HUD 30 years ago, but with the current shutdown,
I've had to apply for unemployment.
She wouldn't give her name for fear of retribution from above, but was in line at a drive-through food distribution site in Houston.
It's humiliating.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Your money at this moment: the Dow is up 335 this morning. We're at 47,966. Coming up, today will be the coolest of the next 7. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
There's no place like home, but home ownership is slipping away in Utah, and young Utahns are being priced out of their own communities. The U.S. economy is built on the idea that 30% of your income should go towards housing. But in Utah, families are spending nearly 66% just to keep a roof overhead. On top of that, the average homeowner in Utah has nearly $400,000 in net worth. For renters, it's barely $10,000. And with Utah already on track to be short more than 153,000 homes by 2030, that gap is only growing. Every community in Utah plays a part in finding solutions. More homes mean more opportunity for teachers, nurses, police officers, and every family that makes Utah what it is. Learn more about Utah's housing shortage and what we can do to begin to fix it at demandmoresupply.com. That's demandmoresupply.com. And when you sign up, you'll be entered to win tickets to a special pre-screening of Wicked. Visit demandmoresupply.com. Together, we can keep Utah families close.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
We've all been there. You buy something one day and find out it went on sale the next. When it comes to your dream home, nothing can be more frustrating than to have interest rates drop right after you sign. For a limited time, Golden West Credit Union will help you buy or refi now and free-fi later. When rates drop, you can refinance once at no cost anytime in the next 3 years. Lock in this exclusive offer today at gwcu.org. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 440574.
We'll take care of you.
When winter's chill settles in across Utah, nothing welcomes you home like the glowing warmth of a fireplace. Croft Fireplace is Utah's trusted experts in gas, electric, and custom luxury fireplaces. Locally owned, locally trusted. Whether you want to convert your old hearth, install a new insert, or create a striking feature wall, the licensed team at Croft handles it from start to finish, bringing years of craftsmanship, quality design, and personalized service to every project. Every fireplace is built to inspire comfort, connection, and calm. A place to gather, relax, and enjoy the warmth of home with family and friends. Visit the Salt Lake or Bountiful showrooms to see your dream fireplace in person. Or let Croft Fireplace come to you. Stay cozy all season. Croft Fireplace, where warmth becomes home. Visit croftfireplace.com to learn more. Croft. Fires. home.
We have emergency traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And back to you, Heather.
Well, this is for drivers in Davis County now. We have a crash southbound I-15 right before you get to the Center Street exit in North Salt Lake. It's blocking 3 left lanes of the freeway. That only leaves a couple of right lanes available. And traffic is quickly backing up into Woods Cross. But if you're trying to get out of Utah County, you still have stop-and-go traffic as well between 2100 North and the Point of the Mountain. That is due to an earlier crash that had also been blocking 3 left lanes of the freeway. All those vehicles are now over on the left shoulder, so speeds are starting to improve getting into the Salt Lake Valley. With IFA's fall and winter lawn food, you'll get stronger roots now and an earlier green up next spring. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move. Heather Kelly, the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be hazy again with some highs in the upper 50s. Halloween should be just like today, but a little chilly at night, so you might want to bundle up. Overnight lows around 40. Let's see where we are right now. 39 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
How far would you go to protect your child who had been accused of a serious crime? That's a question that a number of Utah parents have had to address recently. Welcome to another edition of Inside Sources. I'm Greg Skordas alongside Holly Richardson. And by the way, we are also watching at this time a potential press conference that the governor may be having soon. We may break away to that. It involves a ribbon-cutting ceremony for some affordable housing that the governor is trying to get set up. But back to what I started with, a father of a young man who is accused or who is a suspect in a murder. This is the murder that occurred at the Ben Lomond High School or near the Ben Lomond High School, has now been charged with obstruction of justice. Now, if you recall, Holly, a young 16-year-old was charged with the murder in that case. It occurred allegedly on October 7th of this year. Isaias Carranza, who I think is 16 or 17, was charged with murder, aggravated murder, a number of counts. That case is moving forward. But there was another defendant involved in that, another young man, and his last name was Renteria. His father has now been charged with obstruction of justice, and it's quite a story here, but they claim that the father and others within the house got this kid on a plane soon after he was involved, or at least a suspect in a murder, and got him out of the state, got him down to Las Vegas, and then flew him to Mexico within a day or two of within the next day after this murder took place. So dad's now been charged with 2 counts of obstruction of justice, and these are second-degree felonies. They're serious charges because under Utah law, an obstruction charge is charged based on the severity of the charge you have obstructed. So if you obstruct a first-degree felony, that's a second-degree felony. It's one degree less. So very serious charges against a dad who, may have thought he was doing the right thing, but boy, they sure did a lot of work to track him down with all the. I mean, when you go in and out of an airport, there's a fair amount of surveillance and people who know who you are, and the TSA and others keep pretty good track of who's getting on airplanes these days.
Well, so where is this kid now?
Well, he's apparently in Mexico, and we have extradition agreements with certain countries, Mexico being one of them. So I'm assuming if the United States says, "Hey, we want that kid back," or the state of Utah does, the Mexican authorities will help. But right now, it looks like he flew into Monterrey, Mexico. Where he is now, we don't know. But his flight went from Vegas to Monterrey on October 8th, which was literally the day after this homicide took place.
So, of course, what that makes me think, especially with this father's involvement, is what would you do as a parent if your child was involved in a crime? So we've had several instances in the state recently, including the one where Tyler Robinson, who's accused of killing Charlie Kirk, what his parents did, right? And that was convince him to turn himself into the authorities.
Yeah, almost immediately. At least that's what the evidence seems to be so far, was that once Tyler Robinson's parents recognized him in the video and confronted him with it, they decided to turn him in. And that saved police a lot of work. It saved a shoot up. You know what I mean? They took him into custody without any confrontation at all. But I do think it's an interesting ethical question that it would be easy for you and I to sit here and go, well, this is what I would do. But really, what would you do? I mean, this is a father whose kid. This is the case in Weber County.
Right.
I don't know. He must have been a teenager because I can't find his name in anything. And the kid's probably going to be facing murder charges. May go to prison the rest of his life if he's convicted.
Well, so we already have one who has been charged with the murder. Oh, I guess I'm seeing he's the father of the teen accused of being one of the 2 shooters.
Correct.
So there were two shooters. Okay.
And his son has not been charged, to my knowledge. Now, one thing that could have happened, because they were both so young, he may have been charged in juvenile court. I cannot access juvenile court records, so that child of the man who's been charged may be charged in juvenile court, but I can't find his case.
So there's a KSL story about this that says the stepmom of this young man, I think 16 years old, left on the same flight apparently with him. So
right,
they're both in Mexico right now.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested in hearing from our listeners what they would do if their child was. Even if it's not accused of a crime, right? What if your child was accused of bullying? Would you go in and this is what my daughter sees as a teacher, go in and excuse your child? Is it boys will be boys, or I don't see that behavior at home, or what is it? Or do you say, look, that's not okay? That's interesting to me. I would not help my child escape the consequences of his or her actions.
I wouldn't either, and I'll just tell you this. And when my kids were younger and they lived at home, they used to tell their friends, hey, my dad's a criminal defense lawyer. If I ever get in trouble, I'm going to be fine. And I told them all, this is a true story, I told them all in no uncertain terms, if any of you ever call me because you're in jail, I will call the jail and make sure you don't get out. I will make sure you sit there for a while. Daddy's not going to bail you out. And I don't know that I would have actually followed through with that, but none of them ever went to jail. So I never had to address it because I told them, don't expect me. If a cop calls me and says, hey, I've got your kid in the car, I'm going to say, take him to jail. We'll deal with it in a couple days.
Yeah.
But I never had to do that.
Well, you're lucky. I have.
No, it's a tough decision. And what do you do as a parent? And by the way, often when we have young offenders who are charged with crimes and they don't have money because of their age, mom and dad will pay the bill. And some parents will say, I'm not going to pay. It's your situation. You do what you need to do. We'll get you a public defender. And some will say, I'll pay
Mortgage
whatever.
the house.
I'll pay whatever it takes. That's another tough decision you'd have to make. What to extent would you go, not just financially, but in other ways to help your child who had been accused of a crime? But I think the fundamental question today is, would you help them get away or help them escape or hide the crime? I just don't think you can do that.
Or even help them commit a crime. Remember, we talked about an incident, and I'm sure you know more details about it, but I think it was the woman lured her soon-to-be ex-husband into Utah so that he could be killed, and her mother and another relative, maybe a brother or something,
helped her out.
Help her to cover it up, and I mean.
I just think it's if you want to be a role model to your kids and send a message to them, enabling them, especially in something this serious, is the worst thing you can do. I mean, turning them in is hard. I can't say that it would be something I would automatically do. I like to think I would do that. I claim right now I would absolutely do that, but who knows unless you
it's interesting. We're going to have a conversation, I hope, later about homelessness and what's compassionate. But even in this situation, I can see where I can see parents saying both sides, well, it's compassionate to help, bail out my baby. Or I can also see parents, which is what I would choose, to say it's compassionate to help them face accountability, take accountability for their actions.
Yeah, and parents kind of come down both ways. And even in between, I'll help my kid under any circumstance, I won't help my kid, or let's just do what the best thing is. So it's a tough decision that I think everybody's got to face. Anyway, if any of our listeners want to chime in on what they would do, text us at 57500, and we'll try to read your comments later on.
Look, people do weird things while they sleep sometimes, but I wonder if firing a gun is actually one of them. There's a man who was arrested in Blanding for shooting through a hotel room wall, and he says he was asleep when it happened. The bang of the gun woke him up, and he had a gun in his hand. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we come back.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow is going to be. It's going to be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
We're going to break to a press conference from our governor, who is about to speak to a group regarding some affordable housing. He's got the lieutenant governor with him, and he's currently being introduced. We're going to break to that right now.
By a group called Accelerator for America, who is in the room somewhere, who is a group of leading mayors and local leaders across the country, and Drexel University. And we have a membership of 26 members from across the housing world. We have builders, we have financiers, we have housing authorities, we have housing finance agencies, and all of them are in the room today because we are having our meeting here in Salt Lake City. We published an action plan this summer that catalogs all the wonderful state and local innovations that are bubbling up from around the country, including right here in Utah. And we are meeting today to set them into action and set a course for the year ahead. So we are so excited to be here in this 515 building because it is really emblematic of the innovative thinking the creative ways of building things differently, using the resources we have differently, and governing in different ways. And so I'm going to be your MC for this press conference today, and I am going to hand it over to Chris Parker, wherever he is. There he is.
We really appreciate you guys all coming out. I think when we got talked to about coming to this building, it was probably for two reasons. Number one, it's a lovely place to take in autumn in Utah. We live in a beautiful place. The second thing is this is probably the tallest response to COVID in the state, which might sound like a strange thing to say, but after the masks and the shots and Tiger King release from our collective memory, what is left as an impact of COVID, especially for Utah, is that it was the time frame when the average Utahn lost their ability to afford a home. It was a time period where something that was just happening over in those coastal city slicker places came home. The average Salt Laker, where we are right now, can afford precisely 0 homes in Salt Lake City if they are making the AMI. Utah wasn't fully prepared to deal with that. It hadn't happened to us before. And so the tools that we were using prior for housing simply didn't work to address that very poignant effect of the COVID period. We had to make new tools. And this building is generally an embodiment of 2 specific tools that came out of that period to help address this new problem. The first is Rocky Mountain Homes Fund, which you'll hear a little bit more about later today. That is basically a way for a philanthropic entity to co-buy homes, for lack of a better word, with people that cannot afford them. So if the homes in your neighborhood are $400,000 and your salary allows you to afford $200,000, they will allow you to select the home that you would like to buy, and they will buy it with you and share the equity from day one at the proportion that you might have bought in with them, allowing people that truly in this day and age of Utah have no shot or maybe even hope of owning a home to have that be something that's a real possibility for them. You'll see as we tour a little bit the phase of the project that will have affordable ownership units for people from between 60 and 120% AMI. The building that we're in today is celebrating downstairs a ribbon cutting for the first phase of its project that really addresses between 60 and 25% AMI. Historically, this demographic has been served by low-income housing tax credits. Most people in this room will be familiar with those. It's the most successful housing program in the U.S.'s history. The only downside with it is it doesn't interrupt the generational need for those tax credits. It does a very good job of stabilization, which is the first thing toward anything you might want to do in life. But it's generally a 1-month injection of affordable rent. It doesn't address the basic problem of you having a lower income than the market can now bear a great life out of in the first place. So what this building uniquely does, relative to our knowledge, anything else in the nation, is it takes that program and doesn't change it at all. It doesn't try to mess with the financing or how these programs have gone together. And it takes the trade that LIHTC typically does, which is a developer fee for the developer and a long-term ownership for affordable rent for tenants, and takes the economic benefit of everything the developer would have made and takes the majority of it and puts it back into the tenant's hands. So annually, this building's cash flow will be attributed, and the majority of it will go back directly into checks for the tenants. That's also true when the property refinances or sales. These are usually multi-million-dollar transactions that on a per-unit basis can really drive tens of thousands of dollars, and in some cases on a large 4% deal might even touch 6 digits in direct cash payments to the residents living in the buildings. If you are making $20 an hour, a $20,000 payment might change your life. It interrupts the crises that people are constantly in that position, that makes it so that every decision is of massive importance. So this building is not unlike any other building that might be financed in this way, but because it gives the money made from these projects to tenants, it gives a way to build a nest egg for people that would have had no shot to do so in the future. We're happy to have you here. We're really happy to have the governor here and so many people that have made this project work. Thanks for coming to Utah, and we're excited to show you around.
That was Chris Parker, co-director of the Perpetual Housing Fund, talking about an initiative that they're starting for low-income housing. This is now our governor.
Thank you so much, Colin and Bruce and the entire team that's here. We're proud to host you here. I'm grateful to have you in Salt Lake City, here with Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson and with some of our dear friends from right here in Utah. I want to thank Chris for his vision, for his incredible work. I mean, I'm still processing what they've been able to do here. It seems not possible, but it also makes perfect sense. And bringing all of those tools together in a way that changes people's lives. We got a chance to tour one of the units just before we came up here, and it's truly unbelievable. I mean, you know, just the ability to get one of these family units with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms for you know, $1,100, $1,200 a month. That alone seems almost impossible. With these incredible views, you can imagine I mean, that's a third of the market price. But then to know that you're also going to get a check that helps you sustain life, and there's more to that in the building. A Montessori school down below with daycare and a restaurant where you can get all the meals you need at a very, very, very affordable price. There's so much more happening in this building that will be life changing. And as Chris said, this idea that we've been so focused on, not just of helping people who are in poverty, but breaking the cycle of intergenerational poverty. And that's what these units have the opportunity to do. And so it's phenomenal. Again, I don't think there's anything like this in the country, but there's about to be, because we have some of the best minds in the country here with us, and that's why we're here, is to share knowledge and to see if we can't scale it. I will also just say that what's so cool about what we're doing here in Utah and these different programs that he mentioned, Perpetual Housing Fund that we have here, is that we're not just investing in a project for 40 years where the money is then tied up in those projects. There's a quick turnaround on those dollars, which means we get to reinvest them in new projects very soon. And that's already happening here with this project, is already being turned around, and now other projects are starting. So again, the vision of Chris and others to make this happen is really incredible. But this is certainly part of a solution to provide Utahns with more affordable housing options. We face a significant gap. We talked about it yesterday. It's a big deal. Only 9% of Utahns can afford to purchase a median-priced home in Utah right now. It's unsustainable. We can't keep it that way. So to get out of this crisis, we know that and to restore the American dream, we need to build, and the goal in Utah is to build 150,000 new homes by December of 2028. It's a date that is rapidly approaching, including 35,000 starter homes and 40,000 homes in regional centers across the state. So to accomplish this goal, we've just produced what we're calling the Utah Housing Strategic Plan. We're releasing today. This plan is a key step in creating a true unified roadmap for the legislature, executive branch agencies, and local governments to enact the changes that will be necessary to build the housing that we need moving forward. This plan has 46 different tactics that we put together that we think are best practices that, again, will help local governments and everyone else to build the more single-family starter homes, put density in places where it makes sense and where we have the infrastructure, both transit and otherwise, and increase ownership opportunities, which is so critical to achieving the American dream. Now, to my Utah friends, I mentioned we have our National Housing Crisis Task Force here with us. These are the very best minds anywhere, because, look, Utah is not alone in this problem. It truly is a national issue. I'm proud to co-chair this with my friends, the mayor of Cleveland and the mayor of Atlanta. We come from different parties, very different backgrounds. I'm from a very small town in a very rural place in the mountains, and people ask, well, you guys don't have anything in common, but the truth is we have a lot in common. And it may surprise my friends who are visiting from other states that this part of the state, what we call the Wasatch Front, is the 9th most urban spot in the country. So we are a very rural state with an urban core, and so we face many of those same issues. And again, it is a national crisis. So getting that East Coast, Midwest, and Western flavor is important for the task force. The task force is using this project right here in Salt Lake City as an example to everyone across the country of the good that can happen when the nonprofit sphere, the public sphere, and the private sphere all come together, looking for opportunities to do big things and to change the narrative. Today, we open a new chapter in this building and in the work of the task force. And as we move ahead, this model and others from across the country will learn from each other, and hopefully we can start to scale in a way that makes a dent. This is a great project for the how many units do we have? 96 units. So this is, again, going to change a lot of lives, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to what we need. And so we've got to start filling that bucket up very, very quickly. So put simply, we're not just going to think about new and big ways to solve America's housing challenges. We're actually going to take the models like what we're building here in Utah and others and do them elsewhere. Now, what's making this happen, we have some generous donors, and I'd just like to thank them. Some of them are in the room, some of them are not, but they're all making a big difference. The Balmer Group has been so impactful. We've also got the San Francisco Housing Accessibility Fund doing amazing work here. And then our Utah partners, Ivory Innovations, Clark Ivory and his team have been fantastic. The Gardner Group, whom we all know, and the Larry H. Miller Group of companies, so proud of the work that they're doing in this space to drive innovation and really make a difference. We're very proud. We talk about the Utah Way often here. The Utah Way is pretty simple. It really is about collaboration. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce said that the secret sauce in Utah is collaboration. It's one of the things we do best. So it's the private sector and the philanthropic sector coming together with the public sector, not just donating. They do that, but this isn't drive-by philanthropy. They really roll up their sleeves and get involved. They sit on boards and commissions and task forces. They spend lots of time. We've got billionaires sitting in really boring but important meetings, and they give of their time, and it shows their investment in this place. And again, we call that the Utah Way, solving problems together and not caring about who gets the credit. But I truly believe that's the American way. I think that's who we are. When Alexis de Tocqueville came here in the 1830s, he saw something pretty remarkable that didn't exist anywhere in Europe. It was these groups of people, associations, as he called them, coming together to solve problems. It wasn't just government building hospitals and schools. It was the private sector and the nonprofit sector, these associations, the religious sector as well, all coming together to figure out how to do things. And government has an important role to play.
We're going to take a break from this press conference. We will be right back in a couple of minutes.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you are facing divorce, call Cordell and Cordell today.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. CordellCordell.com.
Utah Mammoth Hockey is back at Delta Center. Don't miss your chance to be part of the excitement as the Mammoth hit the ice all season long. Grab your friends, rally the family, and lock in your seats for the fast-paced, hard-hitting action. Great seats are available for most games, but they're selling fast. Head to UtahMammoth.com to get your tickets today. That's UtahMammoth.com. Your home for all things Mammoth hockey.
And expanded Inside Sources.
We were just listening to a press conference that involved Governor Cox, among others. It was held, Holly, at the 515 Tower, the 14th floor of the 515 Tower, which is on 515 East, 1st South in Salt Lake City. That's a building that is apparently being used and is going to be renovated to make room for for affordable housing. And it came on the heels of a federal tax cut, which I think has got to make the governor a little bit even more optimistic about the people's ability to afford housing now in Utah than they were before we started having some of these things, such as lower rates and a more affordable housing project.
Yeah, this has been in the works. This housing project has been in the works for a couple of years. And today they're going to cut a ribbon on at least some of these units, right? And they sound really great. They're saying that they could have apartments. In fact, I think this is one of the speakers at this press conference said you can have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment for $1,200 a month, which is in today's housing market, that's pretty darn good.
Incredible. And, we do have a lot of buildings in Salt Lake City, especially the downtown area, that are not as occupied. After COVID,
right.
A lot of people didn't go back to their brick-and-mortar offices, and it's expensive, but there are ways to convert office buildings into apartments. And the more we're learning about that, the more I think it's becoming a practical thing for some of these big building owners to do.
I learned something new about one of the Utah organizations involved. It's called the Perpetual Housing Fund. I hadn't even heard of them before, but they've been working on this issue for a while. And anyway, it is. I think it's a really innovative way to address what we've been seeing in Utah, that we're, maybe hundreds of thousands of housing units short.
Yeah. Let's bring in our Bankrate financial analyst, Stephen Cates. Stephen, thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
And thanks for your patience as we were sort of pivoting from one to the other, but they are related. Can you tell us what we know and why the timing of this latest rate cut?
So what we know is that the Federal Reserve made a quarter-point rate cut in yesterday's meeting. This is the second one in a row. We had one in September. We had one in October. We'll now get a month break, no meeting in November, and there will be one in December. One of the takeaways from this meeting was that a lot of the market had priced in expectations for another third cut in December, and Federal Chair Jerome Powell threw a little bit of cold water on that and said, it's not a done deal. It's not a sure thing, and that, they have to digest some information that's coming in from the economy over the next couple months to see what that's going to be.
So inasmuch as the latest numbers showed that inflation, in fact, has inched up a little bit. I think we're close to 3% annually based on a monthly report that we had from, I think, August or September. A lot of us, including myself, and I don't pretend to be an economist by any means, were surprised at another rate cut. Were you?
I wasn't surprised just because it had been telegraphed pretty clearly by the Fed. It was priced into the market. So, given what they had come out with in terms of their summary of economic projections back in September, it seemed clear that another cut was coming, that the labor market had not managed a miraculous recovery in that month, and that another cut was probably warranted. But the reason that this is such a tricky situation for the Federal Reserve and for the economy overall, and all of us that participate in it, is we do have sort of opposing issues: a weakening labor market and still stubbornly high inflation. What that means is that the Fed doesn't have a lot of good options, because to lower interest rates may spur inflation. To not lower interest rates may allow the labor market to fall further.
So Stephen, what does this mean for consumers' bottom line? Is there a difference that we're going to be able to see on maybe our credit card rates or our loans, our mortgages, anything like that?
So these are going to impact consumer products like that. So savings accounts, like your high-yield savings accounts, where a lot of people may keep their emergency funds or their quick cash that they need, those rates are going to start to come down. They already are. And what we know is that, in the future, as more cuts come, and they're expected to come even if they don't come as immediately as December, that's going to move down those rates and those yields on savings accounts. Now, for lending products like a mortgage or an auto loan, credit cards, those are also going to start to move downward. Now, mortgage rates don't always follow the Federal Reserve in lockstep. We actually saw them jump between yesterday and today. But over time, we are going to start to see those move downward, just not in a straight line. With credit cards, those are going to be more immediately impacted. In about 1 to 2 business cycles, people may notice, if they carry a credit card balance, that they'll see an interest rate start to come down. But it's not hugely meaningful. When you think about the fact that most credit cards have a 20% interest rate on them, this 50 basis points or 0.5% of cuts that we've seen in the last 2 months might take you from 20% to 19.5%. It's just not enough. It's not a big enough dent in that credit card interest rate to really make a meaningful impact on the debt you might have.
So given that, and given the administration's, what I believe is going to be a little bit of disappointment at the small rate cuts, is there some logic to what the Fed's doing? Maybe like take it down 0.25% now, 0.25%, and sort of see how the market reacts?
That is primarily how they operate. It's actually extremely rare for them to make larger cuts outside of a recessionary environment. Last year, they made a 0.5% cut in September. That was the only time in history that they've ever done that when we aren't clearly in a recession or having just exited a recession. So the 0.25-point rate cuts are normal. They don't want to move too fast, too quickly, and spook the market, because when you think about what they're doing, they want to make those cuts in little increments to ease the market into that. To do it quickly would spook the market. And that's actually what happened last year. If you look at what happened to mortgage rates and bond rates, 10-year Treasury yields, when the Fed made those cuts last year, yields shot up over the next few months. That took mortgage rates up 1 full percentage point from September to December, as the Fed was easing by a full percent. And so they went in completely different directions. That was one of the reasons that we saw the high mortgage rates that we had in January that have now come down to just over 6%.
So just in the last few seconds that we have, I think you might have answered this, but how much time do you really typically need to see to be able to measure the impacts? Is it 1 month? Is it 3 months?
I'd say mostly, about a month or so for most of these products. You're going to see savings products react more quickly in most cases, but lending products, it could be, about a month or so before that starts to sort of enter into the market. One of the things that matters is what the banks and the lenders actually want to do, because the way you can think about this is that when rates rise, those rates take the elevator up, and when they fall, they take the stairs down.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for explaining that so well. Yeah, we've been speaking with Stephen Cates, Bankrate financial analyst, about the Fed's cutting the interest rate by 0.25% yesterday. And when we come back after the break, we will go back to the story about people doing weird things while they sleep, including shooting guns, apparently. That's coming up next, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
For over 75 years, Duke's Jewelers has been part of Utah Valley's story. Founded in 1948 by J. Melvin Duke, the Duke family has been helping yours celebrate life's biggest moments, generation after generation. Duke's is more than just a jewelry store. They're craftsmen. From repairing a treasured family heirloom to designing the custom engagement ring of your dreams, their expertise is trusted because it's been earned through decades of care, skill, and tradition. When you walk through the doors of Duke's Jewelry, you're not just a customer. You're part of the Duke's family. Because at Duke's, jewelry isn't just about sparkle. It's about legacy, memory, and love. Discover the difference of a family-owned jeweler where heritage meets craftsmanship. Duke's Jewelers, 220 South Main in Springville, or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, celebrating love, tradition, and community since 1948.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule it. 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
How do you gain an advantage in the #1 economy in the nation? Attend the Utah Business Forward Conference, where Utah's best business minds share their knowledge about the innovation, resilience, strategy, and relationships it takes to propel your business and career to the next level. Get access to leaders in various industries, from product development and manufacturing to finance and entrepreneurship. Make plans today to attend Utah Business Forward on November 17th, 2025 at Hyatt Regency Salt Lake City. Sign up now at forward.utahbusiness.com.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah, 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they gonna know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
We're circling back on an incident involving a man accused of firing a gun through the wall of his hotel room. And he said at the time, Holly, well, I was asleep.
I mean, come on. I don't buy that for 1 second.
Let's listen to more about what happened from KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce.
This happened at Blandings Roadway Inn and Suites. Police got a call about shots fired Tuesday night. When they responded, they found a bullet had traveled through the TV and the wall behind it into the room next door and through the first door to the adjoining room on the other side before leaving a mark in the second door separating those rooms. When they traced it back to Richard Newman's room, police say they spotted a 9mm handgun on the TV stand. Newman says the loud bang that scared the neighbors woke him up, and that's when he realized the gun was in his hand. That room next door had 3 people inside. Newman was booked into the San Juan County Jail. Becky Bruce, KSL News Radio.
And so, as you can imagine, he's in room 115. There are 3 people in room 113, the adjoining room, and a bullet goes through their room, and it actually hits the door on the next room, which would have been, I guess, 111. And sort of leaves a mark there, but it's a 9mm. It's not a small gun. Sig Sauer, and they found it, and he's got it in his hand. He didn't like open the door or call the police or anything. I mean, they're like going door to door trying to find out what's going on, and they finally enter his room and find that he's still got the gun in his hand. They're like, well, what's going on? I don't know what's telling about this are a couple of things as I'm reading the police report. The line of the bullet was straight. It wasn't up or it wasn't down. It was a very flat line, which would be hard to do if you were asleep. Now, I guess you'd think if you were asleep, it might have gone up in the sky or toward whatever. It also went right through the TV.
Yeah.
Okay, and it happens at 10:23 hours. I know this might sound funny. I'd like to know what was playing on TV at 10:23. If it was just when the Jazz were losing a game, or maybe Biden was saying something, or Trump was saying something, and I wonder if the TV was an intended target of somebody.
The TV.
You also wonder if there was alcohol involved. We don't know anything like that.
Look, so. Maybe he was asleep. There is our producer Caitlin found a news story from 2013 in Montana that said a Montana man was asleep and fired his gun through the ceiling of his apartment, and it ended up shooting his upstairs neighbor in the leg. But I mean, first of all, I think it's really easy to say, okay, don't keep a loaded gun by your bed. If you think you might shoot it while you're asleep, I mean, I guess you don't think you're going to do those things. I'd be interested to hear from our listeners if they have ever done anything weird while they were asleep, or if they know of any stories. I'll tell you one from my brother. So this was quite a number of years ago. He would have been... he was probably around 10 or 11, and he did used to sleepwalk. So he would walk in his sleep and then end up in different parts of the house. Well, we were living overseas, and we had this very tall, very narrow house, and it had not the same kind of safety things that we would consider normal in the United States. So on the 3rd floor, you could literally open 2 great big floor-to-ceiling windows, and there was no balcony outside. Like, it just dropped down to the ground. So my mom and dad, of course, were really worried that he would somehow open that and just walk right out. I will tell you, he walked into my room one night and thought he was going into my bathroom to use the bathroom, and he was not. He went into my closet and used the bathroom in my closet. So that was not a lot of fun for me. But we do have some website that asked people this, right? What are some of the weird things you have done while walking? And people did respond.
Yeah. Well, I know there's some medications.
Yeah,
without
Ambien
mentioning
is
it.
one of them.
Okay, well, you mentioned that like I've had some people who say, "Well, I did some weird. I've never taken it for that very reason, and I have terrible sleep habits." But I mean, you don't know how you're going to react to certain medication, and I know it's an incredibly helpful drug to a lot of people. But I have clients who get in cars and drive,
that's right.
and then all of a sudden they're pulled over by the police, and they're like,
I
"I
have
have
no
no
memory.
idea how I got here. I have no idea what I'm doing here."
Yeah. So there's we do have a texter. My uncle used to sleepwalk, and one time he woke up in his car, like just what you were just saying. So this is a ranker.com, RANKER, talking about the weird things people did. Somebody said they woke up one Saturday morning to their mother crying and freaking out because she couldn't find her wedding ring. She always puts it next to the sink. She said, this poster said, I thought to myself, weird, why do I feel like I had something to do with this? They went and looked under their mattress, and the wedding ring was under the mattress, and they said, I'm a sleepwalking klepto.
Yeah. You know, and speaking of guns, I did help a man who was a law enforcement officer who was in a hotel room, exact same scenario, and his gun went off.
Yeah.
And it went through the floor, as I recall, into the room, and there was a person in that room also, although no one was hurt. But because he was a law enforcement officer, he got in a lot of trouble with his department.
Oh.
I mean, this person that we're talking about here today was booked into jail. Now, he hasn't been charged yet, but there is an affidavit of probable cause from the San Juan County Jail where he was booked into jail on what they're calling reckless endangerment. It's a Class A misdemeanor. I mean, it's the most serious level of misdemeanor, but it's still a misdemeanor. But what they're saying was that whatever he did, he was not being as careful as he could have been, and they say, well, he created a great risk of death or serious bodily injury to other people, and which he clearly did. I guess he's going to have an uphill battle because to get out of this or to get some mitigation, it's going to behoove him to show that he in fact was asleep at the time and he wasn't just playing around.
I don't even know
with
how
gun.
you can prove that, but I'm going to look at some other stories, and we have another texter too. But this is another story. This is off of the Ranker site, and this is from somebody on Reddit who said that the weirdest thing he ever did had to be the time that his fiance found him unclothed in the backyard hunting an imaginary bear with a very real bow and arrow. So he went outside to go hunting with no clothes on. So
you can't make that up,
right?
So
So this is one that's similar to what we've been talking about. Their dad was using a prescription sleep aid and woke up driving towards Tooele as he was being pulled over by the highway patrol.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Here's another one. This one's a little bit funny. They they stuffed and cooked a turkey. They woke up sitting at the kitchen table and it was almost done cooking. And this person says, this is on the website we've talked about. My roommate woke up at 3 a.m. and I was basting. And he said the roommate was angry because it was his turkey, the roommate's turkey. But when he realized when he was talking to me, I was asleep. So he just stayed up and made sure I didn't burn the house down. But took videos while this guy is sleep cooking, I guess. So another one made breakfast and then put it in the dryer. Right. Another one was afraid that when they were 8 years old, they were sleepwalking and there was a full moon. They were walking down the hall and they kind of woke up and saw themselves in a full length mirror, but they didn't realize they were looking at a reflection and they started punching the mirror.
better than shooting at it, I guess. You know, in Utah and in the West where we really treasure our Second Amendment rights, it's not uncommon for people to sleep at or near a gun, and and I don't have any fault with that. I really don't, especially if you don't have children in the house. But boy, you should make at least one or two mechanisms to prevent it from firing right away. I mean, a safety. Maybe you have to rack it. Maybe you have to do something. Although some people say, hey, if somebody's entering my house, I don't want to have to.
I know
go
that's
through all
always
those
the discussion,
steps.
right? That's always the discussion. But yeah, I think there's. We're going to share a couple of others. So one of them, of course, they playing sports. They got dressed, went outside to play basketball in the middle of the night. One person says they were sleepwalking. They went into the kitchen, took off their pants, put them in the microwave. And I don't know why, right? But, dreams are weird. And so if you're dreaming while you're sleepwalking or sleep talking, I have a daughter, an adult daughter. She has talked in her sleep probably since she was 6. And sometimes people, like my other kids or her roommates when she was at college, they would record her. She has no memory of the dream she was having, but she can have conversations that you think she's talking to you, but she's not. She's really asleep.
Yeah, my wife has these night tremors, and she'll talk, but it's awful. I mean, I actually have to wake her up once in a while and say, hey, you're just having a dream, because I hear her saying things that are like, she's frightened out of her mind.
Yep. We have one texter, and we're almost done, but we have one texter who said they woke up in a bathtub full of water, and another one said their 5-year-old daughter opened their door in a hotel in Las Vegas and was sleepwalking down the hall, and now they make sure they double bolt everything.
Good idea. Well, the government shutdown is now on day 30. People are stepping up to help those most impacted by the shutdown. We'll talk about ways you can help and if any progress is being made to end the shutdown when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. A new report says short-term rentals like Airbnbs and Verbos are not one of the major reasons we have a housing crisis here in Utah. KSL News Radio's Isabella Sosa has more.
A report for the Utah Taxpayers Association says short-term rentals may not be worsening the housing shortage as much as some Utahns say they are. The report says rental homes account for less than 2% of Utah's housing stock. So if they were converted to residential housing, the median home price would only drop by 0.4%. And rentals actually generate a lot of tourism dollars, especially in places like Park City and St. George, totaling more than $1 billion in 2023. Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hospitals and doctors' offices are gearing up for an active 2025 flu season.
As many as 82 million people came down with the flu in this country last year. At least 27,000 died with influenza as at least a factor. Why?
Less than 50% of Americans who were eligible for the flu vaccine actually got the flu vaccine.
Dr. Lashay Ajayi is the incoming chair of the American Medical Association. She attributes vaccine hesitancy to a public perception that vaccines are dangerous.
What I can tell you is that the flu vaccine is extremely safe.
And she urges anyone over 6 months old to get the shot. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Let's get a look at your money at this moment. The Dow is up 214 at this hour. We're at 47,846. Coming up, dry and hazy today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turned everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And we start with you, Heather.
We still have a few delays on the I-15 corridor, especially southbound as you come out of Davis County. Looks like we may have had a little bit of debris on the roadway, and UHP did a slowdown for a few minutes. This is as you pass I-80 interchange and head toward downtown Salt Lake City toward that 6 South exit. But once you get past it, you've got good speeds the rest of the way through the Salt Lake Valley. A few brake lights northbound I-15 at the south interchange in Murray. Again, that's clearing out pretty quickly. And then there is a crash on a city street. This is 3300 South in South Salt Lake. It's eastbound right at State Street. The left lane is blocked in that area. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll get up to 58 degrees today, 60 for Halloween, and then temperatures get up near 70 by midweek next week. Right now, it's sunny and 44 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So today is day 30 of the government shutdown, and grocery delivery apps are trying to help out as SNAP benefits are scheduled to run out this weekend, I think November 1st. GoPuff is offering $50 off groceries for those with an EBT with a SNAP card connected to their account. DoorDash is offering one delivery without extra fees this month as well.
And, you know, it's one of the things that people are doing, I think, that is really trying to say, okay, how can we step up? And we know that in Utah, we're doing that. It's happening around the country as well. And there were a couple of things that I saw today with this shutdown. One of them is an editorial by Senator Josh Hawley. So if you're familiar with Josh Hawley, he is he's pretty libertarian. He is Republican, but he's a U.S. Senator from Missouri. And he wrote this in the New York Times, but it was also picked up by the Salt Lake Tribune. And he just says, no American should go hungry. Congress must prevent Americans from losing food assistance. And then top Senate Democrat Schumer said, we would vote for that bill.
Yeah, so tell us what that bill would be. Is this a stopgap or a gap bill?
It's specifically, it's specifically for SNAP, to fund SNAP, even if they can't get the rest of the government open. And this supposedly it's supposed to head to the House floor, and there are 10 Republican co-sponsors to this Hawley bill, including Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins of Maine, Bernie Moreno of Ohio, John Cornyn from Texas. There's several others, of course. And anyway, it's trying to say, okay, look, we're going to at least fund this part so that the people who are the neediest among us can still have food when the weekend comes.
Yeah, and you have to wonder what, if any, progress is being made with the Senate to get back on the floor or have another vote, or what, or if we're going to have to go through the weekend before that occurs.
Well, that's a good question. So luckily we have on the line with us Cami Mondo, Deseret News congressional correspondent, to tell us what the latest is. Hi, Cami.
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's up?
Yeah, so the Senate is voting right now. They're actually not supposed to vote on the continuing resolution that we've seen come up for a vote at least 13 times in the Senate so far, but they will not be voting on that today or any related funding bills. But as you said, they are trying to get that support for different individual funding bills, but so far that support just hasn't accumulated to Republican leadership just yet.
So can you tell us about what those would be? Because we're talking about this Josh Hawley's sort of editorial and where he's headed and seemingly thinking that Schumer's on board. Can you tell us any of these bills that have some promise?
Yeah, so that one is probably the most promise or most bipartisan support that we've seen so far, especially with the SNAP deadline coming up this weekend. A couple other bills that we have seen are, a bill that would pay some federal workers throughout the shutdown. There are some that want to pay air traffic controllers through the shutdown, but those haven't gotten as much support. But what we're seeing is that a lot of Republican leaders have kind of switched their stance in the last week or so, saying that bringing up these individual bills would only prolong a shutdown. And so we may not see them actually come up for a vote. If they do get a vote, it's unlikely that they actually could get enough support to pass, just because Republicans are kind of switching their stance to say that, funding some parts of the government could prolong the shutdown for at least 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So I'm starting to see at least a few news stories that are saying we think there are starting to be cracks. Are you seeing that too?
There is a sense that, we could be getting closer to some sort of agreement. At the beginning of this week, it seemed like all hope was lost that, we would be in this for a while. But at least for yesterday and today, more senators in these bipartisan talks are saying that, they're getting closer. There may be something that they could agree on. There's no details or finalized agreement, of course, but there is a sense that there could be something that maybe by next week there could be something to break this through.
Maybe you answered this already, Cami, but do we know if the Senate is planning to have another vote before the weekend?
So they are not scheduled to vote on anything today, and I think that the plan is they will leave for the weekend, so there won't be votes tomorrow. So it's looking pretty guaranteed that the shutdown will last at least until through Monday.
Is there any indication that Mike Johnson will actually ask House members to return?
He's been pretty adamant not to return. They haven't released their schedule for the next week, but he's been very adamant that they're not going to come back until it is reopened. We've asked him questions, if you have to get a longer CR, and he has kind of closed the door to that, at least for now, saying that even a longer CR would just put us in the same position we're in now. So it's seeming pretty likely they won't come back until something has happened to reopen the government.
Thanks, Cami. That was Cami Mondo, Deseret News congressional correspondent, with not necessarily any promising news, but there is some promising news with respect to some local officials who have gotten together and thought, hey, maybe we could do something to help out with SNAP benefits running out this weekend.
Yeah, so Republican Carolyn Phippen, Democrat Scott Howell, and then KSL podcast host Amy Donaldson are having a contest to see whether Republicans, Democrats, or independents will make the most food donations. Here's Amy Donaldson.
So she must be the independent here.
She is.
I have a friend who told me about picking her kids up from school and not knowing how they were going to be able to feed their kids. And they went to the Mumbai house because KSL did a story saying there was free food. I think they fed like 170 something people. We thought we'd have some fun, but we'd also have some good conversations and really bring some love back into this moment where it just feels like there's so much happening and you can't solve any problem. Well, we can solve this. We have the ability to make sure no one goes hungry. And that's all we're trying to do.
So this is a fun contest. This is to participate. If you want to, you can make a food donation at any food pantry. Take a picture of your donation, tag it, and hashtag it no aisle, like you're not picking sides of the aisle, and then add the hashtag blue for Democrat, red for Republican, and white for independent. So they're just having this little fun competition to see if we can get people across the state donating to the food pantries.
Good for them. I mean, you can't pick a better time to do this because literally we're 2 days away from the SNAP benefits cutting off, and a lot of federal employees are out of work anyway.
And
right
they've
now.
missed their they've missed full paycheck
or two, right? So and the state of Utah just can't bear the $30 million loss that the SNAP benefits are going to be hurting some of our citizens. So there other people are standing up to the plate. It sounds like pretty well.
We've talked about this all week, but it is really heartwarming to see individuals, businesses, companies People even like the Carolyn, Scott, and Amy getting together and saying, hey, let's do this friendly contest, right? But there are a lot of options for people right now as things are starting to really hit home.
So does it say where to send the pictures? Is there a...
You just do it online, right?
Okay.
And then you hashtag it, and then they can follow by the hashtag, so they can look it up and see, and then they can tally.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they can
That's
tally.
fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Well, I'm gonna do that.
You're gonna donate
Yep.
again. See, now you have to go back
we
to the
gotta
store
go back to the store.
and get some
Right.
more. Yeah, that's right. All right, so the Utah Board of Education removed another book from school libraries statewide. The book is called 13 Reasons Why, and it will no longer be on the shelves in Utah schools. So we're going to talk to the Utah State Board of Education about how the process to make these decisions, how those are made, how the process happens. We'll talk about that when we come back.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you, like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
If you have Medicaid and are new to Medicare, you may qualify to enroll in a Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan with a lot more benefits like dental, vision, and hearing, along with helpful support when you need it most. Now is the time to see if you qualify to enroll. It only takes a few minutes to find out if you're eligible. Our licensed sales agents are ready to help you understand your options. So this Medicare planning season, we can help you plan well. Learn more at humanaduals.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a dual-eligible special needs PPO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the state Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for?
Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Inside Sources.
So the Utah State Board of Education has removed another book from school libraries statewide. This marks the 19th book to be removed from school libraries, and the book is called 13 Reasons Why. I've never heard of it. But under House Bill 29, statewide removal is appropriate if 3 districts or 2 districts and 5 charters agree on the removal of a title. And the 3 districts that joined in on this one were Nebo, Tooele, and Washington County. So once that happened, it triggered the statewide removal. Here's KSL's News Radio's Regan Edelman with more.
13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher has joined Utah's Banned Book Club, becoming the 19th book removed from all school libraries statewide. The book was initially pulled from Nebo, Tooele, and Washington counties before being pulled throughout Utah. House Bill 29 requires the removal of books from libraries statewide if at least 3 school districts or 2 school districts and 5 charter schools say it contains objective, sensitive material. The book notably joins 6 titles by Sarah J. Maas, popular poetry book Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, and Judy Blume's Forever, among others. Reagan Edelman, KSL News Radio.
So one of the things, of course, that this brings up are people's, I think, initial response to say, wait, book banning is so Fahrenheit 451, right? Where the whole premise of the book is that we don't allow books. But there, not only is there legislation, but I think there are real concerns sometimes about the age appropriateness of some of the things that are in the books. We have with us on the line Sharon Turner. She's the Director of Public Affairs for the Utah State Board of Education. Thanks for joining us, Sharon.
Happy to be here.
I'm wondering if you can just start by talking a little bit about the process to remove books from shelves, school shelves.
Sure. So each school district has one specific person who is in charge of reporting a book of concern, and they do so on a Microsoft sheet. We have a survey that's similar to a Google survey. They'll have to upload documentation from their committee, and they also have to know which part of the law this book is specific to. For example, for the most recent book that was put on the list, all 3 districts selected option 3, which is fondling or other erotic touching of the genitals.
So that's specific conduct that these districts found, Sharon, that were offensive enough that the book should be removed from the shelves, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And so they'll have to provide specific examples. In this particular case, all 3 districts wrote down the same page. What that page number is, I'm not entirely sure, but I was informed that it is the same page. So all of our districts seem to have flagged the same part of the book. And once 3 LEAs or 2 LEAs and 5 charter schools report a book, it gets put on the list because it's met that threshold.
So just from a 30,000-foot view, are these books being looked at as they're put on the shelves, or is it after books are on the shelves, maybe they're checked out, maybe a parent says, oh, wait, what are you reading?
Usually it's on the shelves of a library, and again, the parent picks it up and goes, oh gosh, I don't know that I want my student reading this. Or someone in the library goes to check it out, a staff member, and they're like, oh, I didn't think that this maybe was appropriate for a child of this age. And so it gets flagged in various ways, and then it does have to go through this formal process and through a committee and to make sure we're only actually putting books on the list that meet those requirements.
So let's talk about that review, and I appreciate you joining us, Sharon. But so if 3 districts say, hey, this book has offensive material, the state board still does its own independent review, or there's a committee that looks at it?
The state board does look at it, and usually we are pretty trusting of all the LEAs. Again, like a lot of times, like in this particular case, they're all citing the same exact page. And it's, again, we do make them tell us what part of the law specifically this connects with.
So I am wondering about the response from parents, from community. Like, I know that there are organizations that push back against any kind of book ban. What kind of response are you seeing from the public?
Unfortunately, I don't really work on that side of things, so I wouldn't be able to answer that maybe as in-depth as you'd like. But we've certainly had a few people share their thoughts, and I've seen some emails come through, but we do have other staff members that would work more closely with that than I do.
We're reading that the book, 13 Reasons Why, was published in 2007, written by Jay Asher. I'm not familiar with that author. It was a New York Times bestseller for a combined 228 weeks, won a California Book Award Silver Medal in 2008, South Carolina Young Adult Book Award in 2010, selected as one of the American Library Association's best books for young adults in 2008. I mean, are those things that are taken into account, or does the House bill and the strict language of the book that's offensive override that? I guess I'm talking about its artistic or helpful value.
It may be a great book and it may have won tons of awards, but if it mentions things in a sexual nature that may not be appropriate for a student of that age, it is placed on the list. Now, that said, the student is allowed to have that book in their possession. Like, let's just say I live in Lehigh and I take it out Lehigh Public Library and then I bring it into Alpine School District and it's in my backpack. That's fine. I just can't use it to do a school-related assignment. But when I'm on my free time, that's a different story.
Yeah.
So these students are allowed to look at the book and read the book on their own time. It just is not necessarily appropriate for a school curriculum.
So if you're a parent and you have concerns, is it the same process as if somebody from the school, like a school librarian, is it all the same process for somebody to say, hey, I really have concerns about this book?
If a parent has a concern, they would have to reach out to their district, and it does have to go through that specific appointed person at the district. So when the complaints or the concerns are brought to the state level, they can only be filed by that designated representative at the school. Now, of course, we have a hotline for parents to express themselves and go through that process. But as far as the formal list goes, that does come through that appointed person at the district level.
This might be a difficult question, but the bill was passed in 2024, so it's been on the books now seemingly over a year. I'm just wondering why this particular book is being examined now. Is it it's just been brought to the board's attention finally for the first time?
Yeah, I suppose so. I guess it's just sometimes books that have been around for a long time just pick up popularity for whatever reason, and that could be part of it. It's hard to answer why it's come up at this time versus coming up a little bit earlier.
Is there any kind of, do you have a sense of how many other books potentially are raising concerns? I mean, I know that this is the 19th book, that originally there were 13 on the list, so, we've added a few more since then. Is this something that happens relatively regularly coming through your office?
It is pretty regular. So when that form is filled out, we have certain districts filling out, for example, 13 reasons why. And then once we get 3 documents from that or 3 survey results, it gets flagged. So we keep a running list. So we could say that perhaps someone in Tooele County reported this a year ago, and then Washington County didn't notice it until last week, and that's when they put in their survey. And so it's just when they hit that 3. And I'm just using those as examples because I know those are 2 of the districts that did file reports on this specific title. But again, it's an ongoing process, and once we hit that 3, it gets on the list.
Thanks, Sharon. That was Sharon Turner, Director of Public Affairs, Utah State Board of Education. We're now up to 19 books which have been banned pursuant to the Utah Code and the law in the state of Utah. By the way, are you ready to set your clocks, back this weekend?
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
It's time to fall back for 48 of our 50 states. One lawmaker in D.C. was blocked in an attempt to try to end the back and forth. We'll be right back.
Left its seeds while I was
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour is breaking news. Utah State University has picked a new president, and they went to Ogden to find their guy. Weber State President Brad Mortensen has accepted the job in Logan and sent a letter to the Weber State faculty saying he's stepping down there on November 7th. Mortensen has been the president at Weber for the past 7 years. The man accused of killing 2 Tremont and Garland police officers made another court appearance today. Ryan Michael Bate is facing 2 aggravated murder charges in the shooting deaths of Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada. Attorneys today say they are still going over evidence, and the judge scheduled a court date in December where they will decide whether they are ready for a preliminary hearing. Bate is facing the death penalty. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump says U.S. troops will get their next paycheck, but they are still working on a plan to keep SNAP benefits going.
The White House has now announced a plan to cover paychecks for U.S. troops coming due tomorrow, but tensions still flaring on the Senate floor over that critical federal food assistance that's set to expire in just 2 days. John Thune, the top Republican in the Senate, shouting at Democrats as he blocked a bill that would fund SNAP food assistance during the shutdown. Instead, Thune calling on Democrats to vote to reopen the government.
ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 212 right now. That's almost 0.5%. We're at 47,844. Coming up, dry and a bit hazy today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Tonight on KSL, Saltaire, a Utah landmark filled with history and ghosts.
Doors open and close.
I kept hearing footsteps all around.
From the man facing Utah's worst fears for more than a decade.
Wants to talk to me.
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Andrew Adams takes you inside, if you dare.
Did you die here?
Spooky Saltaire, tonight at 10 on KSL.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Right here on KSL News Radio 102.7.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Heather Kelly.
We've got really good speeds now on all the major roadways across the Wasatch Front. They include I-15, the east and west side belt routes, and I-80 through Parley's Canyon. Although we do have a crash if you're exiting northbound I-15 onto Riverdale Road. It is blocking the left turn lane, but the right turn lane is still available for people to go through there. And no other accidents reported that are causing any type of delay. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
No rain today in the long-range forecast. Today we'll get up to 58, warm up all the way to close to 70 by midweek next week. Right now it's 46 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, it's that time of year again, and on Saturday night before you get up Sunday morning, you should be rolling back your clocks because daylight savings time is about to end. And it does create a time warp for a lot of people. It's hard for people to take that time gap difference. It's only an hour, and it takes me about a week to get up to speed. I mean, when I go visit family that
Right.
are more than one or two time zones away, it's the same thing.
Right.
But it is something that you just have to get used to twice a year.
So there are 48 states that go to daylight saving, and it's saving with no S. Isn't that interesting? We go to daylight saving time, and the two states that don't shift, do you know what they are?
I know Arizona's one.
Arizona's one.
I thought Nevada?
Nope.
What?
It's Hawaii.
Oh.
They're just out there in the middle of the ocean, and they never change.
Yeah, I know Arizona
never
is
change.
because when you drive through there, when you go to
it tells you.
southern Utah, you go to Arizona for a few minutes, and it tells you that. I thought
That's
Nevada
right.
was too. I don't know why I thought that.
So text us at 57500. Should we stay on daylight saving time, or do you prefer to stay on standard time, or do you like the switch? Anyway, it's political. It's a political question, and it's one of the things that's so interesting to me is people get really fired up about this issue.
Yeah, here's KSL News Radio's Adam Small explaining the politics around the time shift.
There are currently 19 states, Utah being one of them, that have passed legislation to stay on daylight time year-round if Congress changed the law allowing states to do so. And according to the National Conference of State Legislatures, Arizona and Hawaii have already moved to standard time year-round just so they don't have to change their clocks anymore. Utah lawmakers considered doing the same thing here in the last legislative session, but the bill failed in committee after several groups voiced concern with it always getting darker earlier. Utah Congresswoman Celeste Malloy has proposed legislation in D.C. to allow states to observe daylight time year-round, but it and other bills like it have failed to get off the ground. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
So apparently if states want to stay on standard time year-round, they can opt out. But if they want to go to daylight savings time year-round, as I'm reading this...
It literally takes an act of Congress.
It takes an act of Congress.
So it's interesting because President Trump actually weighed in and said, hey, I want to make daylight saving time permanent. And we've talked a lot about the government shutdown, but the Senate is doing some things.
Right.
And earlier this week, just 2 days ago, there was a bipartisan group, meaning both Republicans and Democrats, who were trying to get a bill passed that would say they wanted to do it by unanimous consent, which just says everybody agrees, right? And to say that daylight saving time would become the law of the land. Well, Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas is like, absolutely not. He says he stood on the Senate floor and said, if permanent daylight saving time becomes the law of the land, it will make winter a dark and dismal time again for millions of Americans.
Yeah, well, it does change I don't know which I prefer. I actually like daylight savings time. To me, and nobody's asked my opinion, but I'm going to give it anyway. I like what we do. I like the shift.
Do you?
I can deal with the hour.
Why?
It drives my wife crazy, but because I think it makes more sense. And, because it'll actually help you and I, because our mornings are going to get a little better here.
After we shift, it'll get light a little
For the
sooner.
early morning people.
Yeah, it's interesting. The history of it is it had to do allegedly with farmers needing to, have longer hours in their field. Like, here's a funny story about Russia. So Russia is gigantic. It now has 14 time zones in it. But there was a time when legally they were all on the same time zone. And so, like, did the farmers on the eastern part of Russia, did they care that it was,
noon,
11 p.m. when they had to get up and start working their fields? They did not care, right? They just rose with the sun and set with the sun. And we do have a couple of people who have texted in. One says, I don't care, just pick one and stick with it. Another one says, stay on standard time year-round, not daylight saving time. Another one says, studies prove standard time's the best and safest for us all. Another one says, keep daylight saving time the way it is. And another one says, standard time's better for school kids. So mix of opinion. And I think you can see just from our texters why this is such an issue. Right? It's just so political. So President Trump, he's like, in the spring earlier this year, of course, he likes to type in all caps, but he said the changing of the clocks, it's not every 6 months, by the way. It used to be pretty even, and now we spend more time on daylight saving time than we do on standard time. But he said changing the clocks is a big inconvenience and for our government, quote, a very costly event, all in caps, 3 exclamation marks.
Yeah, well, I do remember when they moved the change back, the one that we were about to have, until after Halloween.
Right.
That wasn't that long ago, and I think that was done because of Halloween.
Yeah,
and because we wanted to give the kids a little bit more daylight, I guess, before it got dark. Because starting Sunday, it's going to get darker a lot earlier, and trick or treaters, even at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock, would be in the dark.
Still pretty dark, yeah. So one of the other things that does happen, in fact, I remember when I was, I don't remember if I was actually a legislator or I was out, but I said I preferred to stay on daylight saving time. I got somebody who messaged me and said, so you like kids to die then? I'm like, no, of course I do not like kids to die. Like, what a weird comment is that? But their point was, as you shift that in the morning, like sometimes it can be harder to see kids, and we know that it's harder to see wildlife too. So the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources say that people are more likely to hit a deer around the time change in November. So that's this weekend.
Well, we need to get the deer on board with the time shift too.
Well,
like they don't adapt as well as we do, or maybe they adapt better. Who knows?
I don't know. They say the time coincides with mating season and the annual migration of deer, so they just work by the sun, right? They don't know what time the clock says.
You know what surprises me? I deal with a lot of people, media and other attorneys who are in different parts of the country, and nobody can figure out mountain time.
I know.
I mean, they all know where you are on the East Coast. They all know where you are on the West Coast, and even the Midland, but
Central time.
Yeah, Central time. That people just cannot. I mean, I just had a woman from San Francisco the other day. She called me and she goes, "Well, it's 10 o'clock here, so it's noon where you are." I'm like, "No, we're 1 hour ahead of you," and she could not get that out of her head. She kept saying, "You're 2 hours ahead."
So we have a couple more texters, and this one I've heard this before. Only a fool believes they can cut 1 inch off of one end of a blanket and add it to the other and create a longer blanket. Right? The number of hours doesn't change. Another one says, leave it on daylight savings time. It's lighter later. Another one says, I used to like the idea of switching to daylight saving time year round. But I've come to my senses and realized that what we currently do is the least worst situation. Another one says, let's compromise and move the whole country 30 minutes after standard time. So let's just shift the clock that way.
30 minutes, yeah. And
Well, there are some time zones that are like offset by like 30 minutes. It's weird. Another one says, literally move it a half an hour and stay there. And for the sake of golf, stay on daylight saving time. Although, don't they have lights? Keep things as they are. I can't imagine the sun coming up at 4 a.m. in the summer.
I don't know. Golf courses have lights. I
I
never
don't
thought
know.
about that. Yeah.
Baseball does, though.
Well, I kind of like what we do now is the least worst alternative.
The least worst.
That was good. And I never thought about the 30-minute thing, but that makes some sense too, a compromise.
Like, I mean, it's to our texturer's point that said you can't just cut 1 inch off a blanket and put it on the other and say now you've created more time. No, we know that.
We get that.
We know that. It's just funny that
It's a
we
good
think,
analogy, though.
government is going to run our clocks. And you have to change some clocks. Like, I still have to change my oven and my microwave, but all of my digital stuff, it changes automatically.
Changes by itself. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, the obesity rate in the United States is dropping, and as the rate, and of course that coincides with the use of certain medications like Ozempic and Zepbound, and they're on the rise. And we're going to be talking about that next, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Calling all Jazz fans. If you can't wait another second to see stars like Ace Bailey, Lowry Markkanen, and Walker Kessler tear up the court, you're in luck. Tickets are on sale now. Let's go! No matter what you're looking for, the Utah Jazz has your back. With season tickets, mini plans, and single game options available, there's something for everyone. Whatever your schedule or budget, there's a plan for every fan. Don't miss a moment of the action this season. Secure your tickets today at UtahJazz.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. Be the someone who gives their time. Be the someone who lends an ear. Be the someone who takes a step. This is Christina Ricci with RAINN, asking you to join the fight against sexual violence and volunteer in your community. Log on to rainn.org, that's RAINN.org, to learn how you can be the someone.
This message brought to you by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and this station.
The new Inside Sources.
So this story caught my eye, obesity rate declining in the U.S., and this is a survey done by Gallup. They just released it, and this is how they start their study. They're just saying after peaking at a record high of 39.9%, so basically 40% in 2022, the U.S. adult obesity rate has declined to 37% in 2025. So in 3 years, it's dropped basically 3 percentage points. That's 7.6 million fewer obese adults compared with just 3 years ago. But one of the things that's interesting is the diagnosis of diabetes, which is a disease that can be managed but not cured, has reached an all-time high of 13.8%. So anyway, it's really interesting. And of course, there's a correlation with the increase in use of GLP-1 drugs, which are glucagon-like peptide agonists, which is a class of medication to treat type 2 diabetes and obesity. So we know those by the brand names of Ozempic, Zepbound, Trulicity. They're different types of drugs, but they're all kind of in that same category.
So, of course, when I heard that obesity had reached a 15-year low, the first thing I thought was, Ozempic. You know what I mean? Because people rely on that.
Yeah.
But then when you said diabetes has gone up, I have to ask this. If these are diabetes drugs, are people claiming they have diabetes to get the drug, or can you just get it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the drug was, I remember when it came out early, it treats diabetes, and all of a sudden people were like, hey, I also lose weight. And they would say, when they advertised, I thought this was crazy. One side effect is a lot of our people lose a lot of weight. So I'm thinking, great.
Sign me up, right?
People are going to go jump and say, well, I've got diabetes, sign me up. I don't know how it works, whether you have to have diabetes to qualify for these drugs or not, because it seems like that's what they were designed for.
So that's a super good question, and this paragraph comes from Gallup, who did the survey, and it's called a probability survey. So they use respondents' self-reported height and weight to calculate the body mass index, BMI. We can have a whole conversation about whether that's even reliable or scientific, but they say this: a vanity effect in how respondents present themselves may explain why Gallup's obesity estimates are typically somewhat lower than those obtained from studies that use randomized clinical measurements. But they do say that people are consistent in reporting their height and weight across all age groups, but not all individuals who are obese will develop diabetes, and some who are a healthy weight will never get diabetes. So there's other factors that can impact it. But it may be that they're like, oh yeah, now I have it. I don't know. I will tell you this. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. It's been, I don't know, I can't remember now, a number of years ago. But I will say that when I was diagnosed, it was not controlled. It was, my A1C was very high, and I had not had a regular physical for a long time. I was busy taking care of my family and not taking care of myself at all. And so I had type 2 diabetes. I was trying a bunch of different things. But when I started on Ozempic about a year and 3 months ago, it has really, really done wonders for my blood pressure. It's down. My A1C is in normal range. My heart issues have resolved, and I've lost, I'm now down almost 80 pounds from my peak.
So does it help with the diabetes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It really did what it was supposed to do. So
is it like a substitute for insulin?
So the way it works, the way these medications work is they mimic a natural hormone which helps regulate blood sugar levels and promotes a feeling of fullness. So I had insulin resistant. So type 2 diabetes means like it is diet and lifestyle related. It's not something that you're develop and you have to treat with insulin necessarily. And so I had that insulin resistance, and I had done a lot of different things to try and lose weight, and it was just not successful or not very successful. So I did the keto diet for 2.5 years, basically no carbs, no sugar, no carbs, or very, very low carbs for 2.5 years. And I did lose weight, but I just couldn't get past a plateau, right? And
did it help with the diabetes though?
No, I mean, not really. Yeah, it dropped it some, but I was on other medication for diabetes. I'm sharing, probably oversharing,
Yeah,
but
I'm over asking.
No,
I apologize.
but it was helpful, but it didn't have the same kind of impact as when I started Ozempic. So I was still in the type 2 diabetes range, even though I was on the lower end. But once I started on Ozempic, I'm down now in a normal blood sugar range. So the diagnosis will stay with me, and I'll have to stay on top of it the rest of my life. But this has been really good for me.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, from what I've heard about Ozempic and others, these GLP-1s, whether or not once you get to the weight you want to be, if you still need to take the drug. I mean, if you go off it, I'm not talking about you personally, but are there findings that people who go off that gain their weight back?
Yes, there are, and that their appetite comes back, and there are it's early because they're still relatively new, but there is now a new oral medication instead of an injectable medication. We actually have a couple of texters that said you can get the drugs without saying you have diabetes, but I wonder if you can get it cheaper if you say you have diabetes. I think the answer is yes. If you have your insurance will cover it, because sometimes they'll just say, look, this is not necessary. You don't need it. But in my case, the insurance does cover pretty well. And then there are people who do have side effects, of course, from these. But the overall conversation we're talking about is this drop in obesity rate in U.S. adults. I think 7.6 million fewer obese adults is really significant.
Yeah, and they're these wonder drugs, but ABC's Sherry Preston says that they're not really proving to be a cure for everything.
The use of GLP-1s like Ozempic and Wegovy has more than doubled since early 2024, when only about 6% of American adults self-reported using them. Now, Gallup says that number is more than 12%, and those drugs have had an impact. For the first time in more than 15 years, obesity rates in the U.S. have fallen from almost 40% in 2022 to 37% today. Diabetes rates in the country, however, have gone up, emphasizing GLP-1s aren't a cure-all for chronic diseases. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Yeah, and, I think everybody has to be aware of their own health, and we have a texter who said he didn't want to get on those medications. I think that's totally valid. I have a son who is losing weight through the, traditional diet and exercise, and isn't interested in going on these types of medications. But in some cases, they can be helpful. It's just that now we have a doubling in the number of people who are using these medications, and we have a drop in the obesity rate.
You know, it's weird. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, I was on the wrestling team, and I could get my body to weigh anything I needed it to.
Wow.
I cannot do that for anything now. I think, if I could just lose 5 pounds, that's about where I want to go. I just can't do it. I don't know why.
Age and metabolism changes. Yeah,
I guess so.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, you don't eat for a day and you come back and you weigh the same as you did yesterday. Like, I don't know what's going on.
My daughter is coaching a girls wrestling team this year, and she was telling me yesterday how they have to weigh at the beginning of practice and at the end of practice, and that one of her young women that's on the team actually gained weight during practice, and she's like, how did that happen?
Yeah, how does that happen? He's sneaking a candy bar in while you're taking a break.
No, she said it was probably the water she drank. But look, there's also a news story that Eli Lilly, which makes Zepbound, they're teaming up with Walmart to boost access to their weight loss drug so that cash paying patients with a prescription can get single-dose vials at a 50% discount through some of the Superstore pharmacy locations. So just they're trying to get it out there. Of course, they're very concerned about proprietary control. So we do have compounding pharmacies. We've talked with Lois Collins of the Deseret News about some of the access to these medications. But the good news, I think, for the health of American adults, generally speaking, is that we have 7.6 million fewer obese adults in the United States right now than we did 3 years ago.
And that's a good thing. I think the trade-off between the good and the bad from these drugs so far looks very good. I mean, we'll have studies as we get further down the road.
Correlation does not necessarily equal causation, although I think there will be additional scientific studies to correlate this overall drop in the increase in use of these GLP-1 drugs.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're wonder drugs, and so far they're doing a great job for a lot of people. And if the obesity rates are going down by 3% over the course of 15 years, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
More than 400,000 Utahns will have their health insurance premiums go up dramatically if a set of tax credits expire at the end of the year. We're going to talk about that when we come back after the break. Stay with us on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. USU welcomed their new president today, alumnus Brad Mortensen. Mortensen, who has served as the president of Weber State University since 2019, gave an impassioned speech stressing the importance of education.
I am, and I forever will be, an unabashed advocate for student success. And the reason for that is in the room here with us today, my parents. I remember them encouraging my brothers and me to get a college education that they never had the chance to receive so that we would never be locked out from any opportunity.
Alan L. Smith, Dean of the College of Education and Human Services at Weber, has since filled the position. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump says he is directing the military to test our nuclear weapons. More from ABC's Luis Martinez.
Nobody really knows what the president is talking about because it's unclear. There are a lot of questions being raised. Is he talking about the resumption of underground nuclear testing, which the United States has not done since 1992? And for that matter, China hasn't done since 1996, and the Soviet Union did not do until previously since the 1980s.
In a social media post before meeting with China's president yesterday, Trump said that other countries are testing their nuclear weapons. Russia recently tested a nuclear-capable torpedo. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 152 points. The S&P is down 27. And coming up, hazy skies. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health.
Jim Weber is here from Foothill Oriental Rugs. And Jim, it's always exciting to have you here because then we know it's the semi-annual sale. First of all, you are one of the very few direct importers.
You hear that old cliche, we cut out the middleman, and what it enables me to do is I get better merchandise, more unique merchandise, even have a lot of things specifically made for me, and I can offer them at prices 25% below the industry average. So it's a win-win for me, and it's a win-win for my customers.
What have you got on sale for us?
A 9x12 Tibetan contemporary rug, retail price $95.04, on sale for $28.51. A 5x7 Pakistani silk rug, retail price $24.79, on sale for $9.85. If you've ever needed a rug, this is a great time to come in and look at rugs because our retail prices are better than the industry and average, and right now they're marked down up to 70% off.
Don't miss out. The semi-annual sale is underway now at Foothill Oriental Rugs, 1460 South Foothill Drive, just south of Foothill Village.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
We're finally accident-free all across the Wasatch Front and no delays on the I-15 corridor. But you are going to see delays in Tooele County. This is on SR 36 heading southbound as you head away from Main Street toward the city itself. This is due to lane restrictions. This happens pretty much every day, but traffic right now is just barely crawling for a good mile or so. Otherwise, things look really nice if you're coming out of Tooele County on I-80, the 201 freeway, and all your city streets in the Salt Lake Valley. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 58 today with mostly sunny skies. The haze in the air sticks around through the weekend, and we'll see highs move to the upper 60s heading into next week. Right now, 49 and fair. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Of course, we've been talking over the last 30 days. That's the number of days that we've had a government shutdown about the overriding reason for that. And it's really this whole idea of tax credits for people who get health insurance through the federal marketplace. And we reported on KSL News Radio that more than 400,000 Utahns could probably see an increase in their insurance premiums by the end of the year, depending on how this all shakes out.
Yeah, that's right. And the Republicans are saying we're not going to deal with that right now. And the Democrats are saying we're not going to deal with anything else until we deal with this. So it's like it impacts real people, right? And when you're talking about, we have Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene who is saying, look, my kids cannot afford this type of increase. And it's not just my kids, right? It's people in my district who can't afford this. She's the one who's really been speaking out on the Republican side. But to almost take the politics out of it, if we can, we'll see. We have on the line with us John Pike. He's the Utah Insurance Commissioner. Welcome, Commissioner.
Well, thank you, Holly and Greg. Appreciate it.
So can you just explain to our listeners, what do these tax credits do for people who are accessing their health insurance through the federal marketplace?
Yeah, it's and to be clear, what's really kind of at stake here is what they call the enhanced advanced premium tax credits, and those were put in place during COVID, during the Biden administration, and it was to help people at income levels, at poverty level and above. In fact, even clear above 400% of the federal poverty level. And if people know roughly what that is, federal poverty level for a person of one, for an individual, is about $15,000 a year income, okay? And so we're talking about, people that, that don't qualify for Medicaid, for example, but do qualify for these enhanced advanced premium tax credits. And some of those are going to be, if this enhanced advanced premium tax credit system goes away, it expires at the end of this calendar year. And as you mentioned, Holly, Congress has yet to basically decide or include it in the budget. And so if they go away, what that means is approximately 422,000 Utahns that get their insurance through the federal marketplace on healthcare.gov, they'll be affected. about 32,000 of those people that earn 400% or more of that federal poverty level, they'll lose all of their premium tax credits. So what that means is where they were getting some assistance, they will just pay the full premium, on their own. Utahns with incomes that are below that 400% of the federal poverty level, they'll see reduced premium tax credits. So they'll still have some help, but it will still increase their out-of-pocket, premium costs. So would you like an example just really quick?
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
So an individual who is at let's just say 200% of the federal poverty level. So, they would see a 351% increase in their monthly premium contribution. Now, what does that look like? What that means is going from $32 to $144. That's not a lot of money. But again, remember, that person's making $30,000 a year, so it might be a lot of money to them. And then a family of four at a higher income, let's say 400% of the federal poverty level, they would be seeing an 111% increase, going from, in other words, real dollars, $847 to $1,786 per month. So again, those are more dollars for a family of four that's not really making, a ton of money. That's 200% of the federal poverty level. So it does have an impact. And, it's not a state decision. This is, as you mentioned, a congressional, the U.S. Congress decision. But it certainly will have an impact on people here in Utah.
I mean, those numbers, especially for the family of four that you mentioned, to me, that sounds like almost unsustainable. So what do you anticipate Utahns, if this goes away, what do you anticipate Utahns who are currently getting their insurance through the federal marketplace, what do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, and that's the trick, of course. And the first thing we hope they'll do is that they'll work with their insurance agent, and most people typically do go through an insurance agent or a navigator. We hope they'll work with them. Open enrollment starts Saturday, November 1st. So that's why this is happening. This is hot off the press. This is happening now. Rates are out. So we hope they'll talk to their agents and that they'll shop. They'll say, well, can we look at a different plan? Can we reduce our coverage and therefore reducing our premium? Now, of course, that's a double-edged sword, right? Because then they have lesser coverage when they go to make a claim. So it's not a perfect situation, but that's kind of what we all do, right? As the premiums increase, we have to make some decisions. Our employers make decisions. But in this case, it's the individual or that family that they're going to have to make decisions and say, well, can I get a lesser plan or a different plan where I save a little bit of money and offset some of that increase? That's the hope. If that doesn't work, then there's a less desirable option than that. But you kind of go to the old system, which is you could, again, through an insurance agent, you could apply and you'd have to be medically reviewed and underwritten to get what's called a short-term health plan. So that goes for a year. You can renew it for up to another year and renew that again for another year, and we'll see where that goes. But those cover less. They're not as comprehensive. They do cost less. They don't go through. They're not part of that Obamacare federal marketplace, but they're something, right? But not as desirable, but that's another option. The next thing, and it's not insurance, but it's available, and some people are doing this already. You might be familiar with what are called health sharing ministries. And they're not insurance, but you can join those, and they're faith-based groups that offer, healthcare cost sharing plans. And so, I'd rather have someone have that than nothing, but it's very different. And of course, then what I hope is they don't go to the worst option, which is become uninsured altogether, because that, and some, especially the more healthy young, they will tend to do that. And that's not good for anybody. It's not good for them, but it also takes them out of the risk pool, which, kind of makes the costs even spiral higher over time. So we hope that people won't go uninsured, and there's always the hope that maybe they've got a spouse, maybe, or even they themselves, maybe they now have a plan through an employer that they could join that maybe they didn't have last year. But, the hopes of that maybe aren't as high as some of the other options and the eventualities that could happen. So anyway, those are kind of the options that are out there, and we don't want to, say the sky is falling, but it's certainly going to be a challenge for a lot of people.
I have a really quick question that just came in from a texter. If this goes away, how would that impact other insurance companies or insurance premiums? Will it at all, or do you know?
Over time, I believe it will, because again, if you take more people out of the system, especially the young and healthy people, which will be, I think, the first to leave because they won't see the advantage of staying in. I think that makes the risk pool worse. That makes the experience worse for the insurance companies. You could, over time, see some insurance companies saying, gosh, we can't afford to really be in this business. It creates what we unfortunately call a death spiral, and so that could be a problem over time. And that's why I think it's up to Congress to decide and make the policy decisions, right? It's not even within the state's control, but hopefully it doesn't have too, especially in the short term, difficult consequences for people. And that's why, if they do find a way to make an agreement, I think that would lessen some of the financial impact on people. And maybe over time there are other things that the federal government could do. And I think it makes it even more important for us here at the state level as well as national level to find ways to truly reduce what we call the cost curve of healthcare so that, we can really begin talking about it being more affordable for Utahns and Americans, period, across the board. This doesn't do that. This kind of, it's a Band-Aid, but it might be a Band-Aid that's not easily ripped off in one fell swoop.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was John Pike, Utah Insurance Commissioner. And I just have to remind our listener that the ACA, the federal marketplace, it is the same thing as Obamacare. And there are sometimes there's some confusion about that. Just stay with us over the break. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Hey, Utah! Are you ready for the Utah Mammoth to hit the ice? From game-winning goals to behind-the-scenes moments, Mammoth Plus brings the action to you all season long. Whether you're at home, on the go, or in the stands, don't miss a single shift. Visit UtahMammothPlus.com and start streaming today. That's UtahMammothPlus.com. Every game, every goal, live on Mammoth Plus.
Every child deserves to feel safe, seen, heard, and loved. The Children's Center Utah helps make that possible. For more than 60 years, their expert team has provided life-changing mental health care for young children and their families. This care plays a crucial role when a child's development matters most, providing early intervention and the tools they need to thrive before a family faces significant crisis and expense. Addressing crucial mental, behavioral, and emotional concerns now. Today, the Children's Center Utah is expanding, bringing hope and healing to even more communities across Utah. This outreach will ensure greater access for more Utah children and their families. You'll hear more about it in the days and weeks ahead. In the meantime, if a child in your life needs support, the Children's Center Utah is here to help. Visit childrencenterutah.org to learn, give, or get involved. The Children's Center Utah, where hope and healing happen.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Inside Sources.
Since September 2nd, the United States military has been attacking boats in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific, and we are now up to 14 boats struck, 61 people killed, and 3 surviving. That has caused a lot of consternation between the administration and others who wonder if we are taking it a little bit too far. Of course, there's a war on drugs, and the administration is saying we're not doing enough about it. We're going to take matters into our own hands. But on the other hand, we don't always know who was on those boats.
I think there are a lot of let me just say, maybe not a lot. There are a growing number of Republicans who are saying this is not okay. Rand Paul is kind of leading that effort, but he's not the only one anymore saying, hey, look, there is due process, and we believe in due process for everyone. You can't just drop a bomb on a boat that you say is carrying drug smugglers without any kind of trial or indication. Like the Coast Guard is able to board those boats and take people into custody, but he's calling them extrajudicial killings. Like he's just saying, like, we're just going around the system and dropping bombs, basically dropping drones with weapons on boats that we have at least the people who should know, they're saying they don't know.
Yeah, and historically, like you said, the Coast Guard has had the mission of doing this, and they will intercede when they see a boat. They will make contact, look into the boat, see what's there, and go through the normal process that you'd expect with a traffic stop or something like that out on the high seas.
You know what's interesting is we're seeing, like, again, I'll go back to Senator Rand Paul. He's saying some of the claims that are being made is that they're smuggling fentanyl, and he said fentanyl doesn't come from the Caribbean.
Right.
It comes from China and Mexico, but it doesn't come from the Caribbean. That's a different type of drug, right? Anyway, it's they've also sent an aircraft carrier into the area that some people are calling a significant escalation also, in addition to that.
Yeah, and of course, I think the administration is claiming that these drugs that are coming in are mostly cocaine, drugs of that nature. We have a cocaine problem, let's face it, but it's not a drug that we see as insidious right now.
It's not as common anymore.
Fentanyl is just off the charts, and it's something that we need to deal with, and I think we're doing a fairly good job of that. But you're right; it's not coming in on these boats through the Caribbean.
So Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth posted yesterday on X that there had been another airstrike, and ABC Pentagon reporter Luis Martinez has more on yesterday's strike.
Wednesday's airstrike on an alleged drug smuggling boat in the Eastern Pacific killed 4 people, according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The airstrike brings to 14 the total number of airstrikes against drug cartel boats since they began in early September. Airstrikes that have killed at least 61 people. The news came the same day that the Trump administration briefed a group of Republican senators on the airstrike campaign, leading to criticism from a top Democratic senator that Democrats had been excluded. William Martinez, ABC News, Washington.
You know, and the administration loves to show these videos, and of course you can't take your eyes off of a boat that's sort of traveling at a fairly decent rate of speed, and it just gets obliterated. I mean, the amount of force that's going into this is just off the charts. I mean, the precision, it shows that our military certainly has capabilities to do some pretty extraordinary things, but finding out exactly what's on a boat before you blow it up isn't one of those yet.
So one of the things that some Republicans are requesting, and I'm sure some Democrats as well, but is if this is an act of war, right? If it literally is a war on drugs and we're taking out drug runners, this is an act of war, that it should go through Congress, right? That's what they're saying, is take it to Congress. They're the ones who have the ability to declare war. And it's just, I think that right now what we're seeing is that's not going to happen. But one of the things that I'm looking at right now, this is a Washington Post editorial, so from their editorial board, and they say right off the bat, drug abuse takes a tremendous toll on American society. Curtailing smuggling is an admirable objective of Trump's border policy, but not every social scourge is an act of war that allows the executive to deploy military force. So anyway, they just say Trump hasn't gone to Congress to seek approval for these attacks, probably because the majority would not approve of the intentional killing of non-combatants.
What I'm surprised at, though, Holly, is if there are 61 killed and 3 survivors, why we don't know more about those individuals. Certainly their families, their governments, and I mean, but there's got to be some. You would expect that there would have been something proposed that said, hey, and I know we're hearing, well, they were fishermen, they were doing this and that, but I would like to see some proof of that. Like, hey, this guy was out, these people were out doing this, and this is their boat, and this is what it looked like when it left. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think we do see that. I think one of the issues with the escalation and rhetoric against the president of Colombia is him saying back to the Trump administration, you are killing fishermen who are just going out for their daily catch. And they have shown pictures of the boat beforehand, and then the widow, right, for example, saying that was my husband. He went out to fish and he never came home.
Yeah, and the international waters is just weird, and I don't understand maritime law at all, and I don't want to because it's complicated. But
you're an attorney.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't want to do bankruptcy law either. But there are things that are over my head, and this is something you wonder by what authority we have, if any, maybe we don't need it, to do something like that, and why other nations aren't going, what's going on? Maybe they are, and saying, hey, you're killing our citizens. But I think if somebody attacked a yacht from the United States, we'd be going crazy.
Ballistic.
Right.
For sure. And, again, it's part of an ongoing question about what authority does the executive branch have to take action without congressional authority and authorization, right? If you're just saying, if you ask Hegseth, he says he has the authority to do this because they're taking out bad guys, right? But you have a lot of other people who are, including, like I said, some Republicans who are saying, actually, there is a process here and you're not following that process.
Sadly, process is the right word, because due process in this country, and I'm an attorney and I'm a defense attorney, and I've spent my whole career as a prosecutor or defense attorney, but the concept of due process is so sacred to me and others that you wonder, and I understand, like everything in this country, that sometimes we take things too far, and sometimes we give people more deference, or things that maybe we need to back off on a little bit. And I understand what's happening at the borders, and I understand the drug problem because I've lived it I helped Utah form its drug court 30 years ago, and something has to be done, and the war on drugs was a failure. But man, the due process part of me just thinks you can't just take out a boat because you think, or you're pretty sure it, we're 80% sure it had drugs on it. That's frightening.
Well, it's 61 people now that are dead. And maybe they were bad guys, and maybe they were smuggling drugs, trying to get them to the United States, although there's even question about that, if the boats even had the ability to do that. However, as you pointed out, there is a process, and the Coast Guard is the one that has been authorized to basically do maritime policing, right? The U.S. Coast Guard. So anyway, it's an ongoing issue, and the strikes continue to happen, and they don't. Of course, there's no notice ahead of time. It's after the fact when they post another video on social media, and it's basically like, got another one.
You know what's weird right now is you have a cry for people to, hey, do something about this, and then the boat strikes continue. We bring Putin in to say, hey, knock it off with Ukraine, and then it goes worse. And Netanyahu, bring him in, and we have a peace agreement. Then it almost seems to get worse. I mean, it just seems like every time you bring attention to one of these things, and these are completely unrelated, but I'm just thinking, we think we have an avenue, we think we have a way, we think we're looking toward a resolution, and then boom, it continues. These boat strikes do not seem to be slowing down at all.
Well, this is Mr. Hegseth posted this about a week ago. He said, if you're a narco-terrorist smuggling drugs in our hemisphere, we will treat you like we treat Al-Qaeda. So, and then now we have the aircraft carrier with a lot of firepower and attack planes to the waters off of Latin America.
And that plays well to a lot of the American public, let's face it.
Does it? I mean, I think there are people who do I think there are a lot of people who have concerns about this. So anyway, that's the latest on that. There was another strike yesterday that killed 14 people. So look, we have a few developing political stories today that we want to talk about, including a new president at Utah State University whose name might be familiar to people. We'll talk about that when we come back.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. The man accused of killing 2 Tremont and Garland police officers made another court appearance today. Ryan Michael Bate is facing 2 aggravated murder charges in the shooting deaths of Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada. Attorneys say they are still going over evidence, and the judge scheduled a court date in December where they will decide whether they are ready for a preliminary hearing. Bates is facing the death penalty. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Less than 2 days until SNAP benefits run out across the country, and still no end in sight to the government shutdown.
To Speaker Mike Johnson, the solution is simple. All Senate Democrats have to do is get on board a funding bill the House passed over a month ago.
Then we will get back here, and then we will debate all these other extraneous issues.
Democrats say the extraneous issue affects 20 million people on the health insurance exchanges who benefited from COVID-era subsidies that are set to expire. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says premiums are skyrocketing.
And the American people will see so this weekend.
Come Saturday, tens of millions of SNAP recipients won't get their monthly food assistance, something that's never happened before. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 96 points, the S&P is down 34. And coming up, temperatures are rising. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
If your vibe is the earlier the better, Lowe's early Black Friday deals are a no-brainer. Get up to 35% off select major appliances, and rewards members get free delivery, haul-away, basic installation, and a 2-year Lowe's protection plan when you spend $2,500 or more on select LG major appliances. Valid through 11/4. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change. LG member offer excludes Massachusetts, Maryland, Wisconsin, New Jersey, and Florida. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Attention Jazz Nation. The long wait is finally over. Mountain basketball is back and better than ever. Let's go! All tickets are on sale now, and you won't want to miss the action. Jump on the opportunity to watch your favorite players live and in person. Whether you're after season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, the Utah Jazz has got your back. There's a plan for every fan. Don't miss out. Secure your seats today and be part of the excitement all season long. Let's go! Visit UtahJazz.com today.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Cormac Bone.
Well, it wouldn't be Utah if it wasn't construction. We've got our worst delays southbound SR 36 out in Tooele County. That's going to be between Erta and Tooele. It's because they've got that restricted down to one lane now. Just southbound, northbound, you'll be going just fine. And also in American Fork, we have both directions delayed approaching 5th South on State Street. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 58 today, and then temperatures begin to rise by Sunday. We're back in the upper 60s and even nearing 70s next week. Right now it's 50 and sunny. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So the political nerds that we are, there were a couple of pieces of news. One of them happened right before our show, and another one happened during our show that I wanted to talk about. So Utah has a homeless coordinator, and that happened about 5 years ago. The first homeless coordinator was Wayne Niederhauser, who used to serve in the Utah Senate. So he announced that he was going to be stepping down on December 5th, and this was about just only a week or so ago. Not very long ago, about 9 days or so. So he said he's going to step down on December 5th. The governor has put in a temporary person, and it's his deputy assistant state homeless coordinator. It's Nick Coleman. And so he is going to step in the interim. But this morning, we learned that Tyler Clancy, who is a representative from Provo in the Utah House, he will be the new state homeless coordinator after the end of the legislative session.
So 2 surprises to me. One, Wayne Niederhauser stepping down because he hadn't been there a long time. He'd done a lot, and he got it rolling, and maybe that was what
almost
he felt
5 years
like
still.
His mission was to give it 5 years, get it up to speed. And then so him retiring, he announced that himself. But he's sticking around till December 5th. And then Representative Tyler Clancy, who I think is a law enforcement officer.
He is. He's a police detective, but yeah, he's been in law enforcement. He's also had a lot of experience with the homeless community and the effort. He was with the Pioneer Park Coalition, which is how I first met him during the pandemic, at least. When he stepped up to run for a special election when there was a vacancy down in Provo, and when he was elected, he was 25 years old.
Yeah, he's still quite young.
He's 28 now.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
And I think he's with Provo Police Department. He has a distinguished career there.
Yeah.
I imagine this will cause him to have to retire from the police department. I don't know that he could do both. He can keep his certification, but that's neither here nor there. This would be a full-time career, I assume.
Yeah, although I am looking. We tried to get him on our show, and he wasn't available. You can hear more from him this afternoon on Midday with Maria Chaleos. But He will be resigning from the legislature after the legislative session ends. He confirmed to the Salt Lake Tribune, actually. But he will, and also, this is a full-time job. He'll be stepping into a full-time job. And remember, we've had this conversation. We even had a conversation yesterday. Part of what Wayne Niederhauser put into place, or at least starting, is this homeless campus or that will house, what is it, 1,300 people we talked about?
16 acres,
Yeah. So Tyler will be stepping into that. Representative Clancy, please, I need to be respectful.
Walking into a huge job. Now, you're right. His appointment begins March 9th, 2026, which is immediately following the legislative session. So no coincidence there.
Yeah. So I was able to publish that on Utah Policy this morning. It's really, he really, I think, one of the things I know Representative Clancy for is A, he's young. B, he really works hard from my perspective on real issues that affect real people. And he formed with one of the Democratic representatives, the Blue Collar Caucus in the state legislature, because he's like, look, some of you guys don't really know what it's like on the ground. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's really hard.
Right.
I think that brings a really unique perspective. Plus, his police background is going to bring a really great perspective to this issue.
He's been a guest for us a few times, too. And he's very, very in tune with the homeless issue and from the legislative portion. But I think that he's a good candidate, a good selection, I think, by the governor for this position.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought deeply about who the governor might pick, but when I saw it was Representative Clancy, and it's like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He's going to do a really good job there. Okay, the other piece of breaking news, and this happened during our show, and this I teased just a little bit. People might know this person's name. So Utah State University has been looking for a new president. Their last president stepped away and went to a different state, and there's been some controversy about her tenure. So they were looking for a replacement, and they found one close to home. It's Brad Mortensen, who is currently the president of Weber State University. He's been there since 2019.
So that's a lateral, and it leaves now Weber State's going to be looking for a president.
That's right.
you have to wonder why he chose that, but there are certainly reasons. And Utah State University has it's one of the most beautiful campuses in the country. I'm sure that it has a lot to offer. I think it has a little bit more of a research and grad program than Weber State.
So that's correct. And so I, because I'm also an education nerd, I had to learn what an R1 university was, and there's different levels of research. So there's two public universities in the state of Utah that have R1 designation, which is the level of research, the highest level. The University of Utah is one, and Utah State University is the other one. Brigham Young University also has that, but they're a private university. So it's interesting to me, right, is he has the opportunity to go lead the land-grant university in the state of Utah. That's Utah State. And also this research university. He actually is a USU alum with a bachelor's degree in political science. So he gave his opening remarks today, and he pledged to lead the school with integrity and earn the trust of the USU community. And also, like, I just saw a thing on the internet, on social media, that he was like dancing at Weber State, like they were doing, like, look, watch President Mortensen do this dance here at Weber State. So of course he loves Weber State, and he is going to take that experience with him up to Utah State.
And again, he served it for distinction at that. He's been there since 2019. So like Wayne Niederhauser, he puts in his 5 or 6 years, does a great job, and moves his institution to the next level. And then moves on from Weber State. He's going to begin his service at Utah State on November 10th. So it's
really just coming up. I mean, that's a really quick transition.
2 weeks notice to Weber
that's
State.
Right. Is it even 2 weeks? I don't even think it's 2 weeks.
Right.
But yeah, so he'll be moving up there to Logan. But there's, Utah State has had some issues. They had a Title IX issue. They've had issues with the president's office and spending. But they have some great programs. And, the state legislature asked all of the universities, all the public universities, to trim their budget by 10% and come back with their plan. Well, Utah State was the only one that did not get approval when they presented their new plan. And they said, basically, we think you need to go back to the drawing board. And so in the last interim session, which was just last week, they said they were going to let the new president, when he or she was announced, and now we know who it is, that they would make those final decisions on the next presentation to the Utah legislature.
Yeah, so Brad Mortensen will be only the 18th president in Utah State's history, replaces President Elizabeth Cantwell, who was hired in 2023. She resigned in February of this. She was only around for 2 years as she was selected as president of Washington State University.
Yep.
So, yeah, he was selected unanimously, approved by the Board of Public Education, Higher Education, I guess, and he's going to be starting there in 2 weeks or less.
One of the things that's great about Dr. Mortensen is that he's a first-gen college graduate. So what that means is he's the first person in his family, the first generation, to go to college. And he has all the way up through a doctoral degree, of course, and is now going to be able to take that. I think one of the things that he's done really well at Weber State that I've seen is they have really done a phenomenal job, in my opinion, of reaching out to the community and inspiring people to go to college who maybe thought that was not an option for them. And they work really closely, Weber State does, with the tech colleges around and getting people from high school to into Weber State's program, even with certificates and a way to streamline these stackable degrees. So I think he's going to do a really great job. That's my opinion.
And an opening at Weber State, which also is a very attractive university for somebody that wants to be in a position like that.
Yeah, now there's a job opening.
Right. Well, there's been some monkey business at a Spirit Halloween in Texas. A monkey escaped its owner and started swinging from the rafters.
I think that is a really fun story.
That's pretty cool.
Spirit Halloween. Come on, it's got to be fiction, but it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not. We'll talk about more about that after the break.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word INBOX to 57500. That's INBOX to 57500.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. The Alliance to Protect Insulin Choice is a collective of patients, families, and caregivers dedicated to addressing the broader challenges of diabetes care, building awareness, and creating a supportive community that empowers people to take charge of their health. Allison Smart joins us with more.
Imagine being diagnosed with a life-threatening condition and finding a medication that works well for you with minimal side effects, only to have it suddenly discontinued, leaving limited alternatives that don't meet your needs. This is the reality for many people with diabetes today. Levemir, an insulin valued for its consistency and flexibility, especially for pregnant women and children, is no longer available in the United States. The Alliance to Protect Insulin Choice is dedicated to ensuring patients retain access to the insulin they need. We are striving to bring a generic version of Levemir to market, advocate for faster FDA approval, and ensure broader access for patients nationwide. With more support, a company is ready to produce it and make this life-saving option widely available. We're encouraging Utah leaders and investors to support these efforts. It's about protecting choice, safeguarding health, and preserving lives. To learn more, visit alliancetoprotectinsulinchoice.org.
The Alliance to Protect Insulin Choice empowers Utah families and communities by advocating for patients' rights, raising awareness about insulin access, and giving people a voice in healthcare decisions. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
And expanded Inside Sources.
We are just one day, Holly, away from Halloween, and we want you to text us your favorite candy, 57500, anything but candy corn. Just
no,
please.
Stop it.
Anything
That is not the question.
Right.
Are you team candy corn or team anything else?
Right.
I actually like candy corn, so there you go.
Well, that's not good.
57500.
What I do like is a little bit of monkey business this year. So this is a true story, and you were telling me about this at a Spirit Halloween store, and you'll have to tell us what that is, in Plano, Texas. This is incredible. Somebody brought their monkey.
Yep.
Why you would do that, I don't know. And it got spooked by a spook and ended up leaving its owner's arms and ran through the rafters and kind of ran amok with it. It looked like the monkey was actually quite happy.
I know, living its best life. We actually have a little bit from NBC News on the escaped monkey.
Arlene Pinkston was shopping with her daughters at a Spirit store off 75 in Plano.
My daughter looked up and she said, "What in the world?" And she's like, "Is that a real monkey?" And so I look up and I said, "Well, it's got a diaper on, so I guess it is real."
For more than 30 minutes, the monkey could be seen climbing poles, swinging from wires, and crawling around rafters. Jimmy Harris works at the store. He says the pet monkey got spooked by animatronics and ran away from a customer who brought the animal inside.
It was entertaining. I mean, it was like, I mean, a lot of people just stood and watched for like 30 minutes, like the whole time. There was a monkey. And you had kids trying to catch it.
Plano police were called to the store and tell us when an officer arrived, he observed the monkey swinging from the rafters wearing a diaper. Eventually, a cookie was offered to the monkey by the owner and was able to gain control of it.
And the reason that they knew it was a real monkey is because it was wearing a diaper.
It was wearing a diaper.
Who'd have put a diaper on a pet, on a stuffed monkey?
And why would it be up in the rafters, right? I've seen, so this monkey got spooked by one of those big, it doesn't say if it's big, but one of those animatronic things that like moves and startles you. And I have to tell you, so I watch funny animal videos on social media, Instagram usually, and there's a series of little video clips of animals, like it's captured by like the Ring camera on doorbell outside. So humans aren't there, but you've got these animals coming up on a Halloween porch and they're helping themselves to the candy that people set out like in a bowl sometimes. Like I saw raccoons, but I also saw a couple of bears, and then the animatronics startle them, right? Because they move, and so some of the animals run away and hide, and some of them just beat the crap out
Out of the animatronics. I'm like, who would take an animal to of all things a Spirit Halloween store? I mean, everything's moving around. I think it'd be scary to take a 3-year-old to some of those places.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, that was a really funny story, and you can watch some of the video online. Not a whole half an hour's worth, but today, as we talked about, it's actually National Candy Corn Day. Believe it or not, it has a day. So we asked our texters and continue to text us if you're team candy corn or team anything else. And I already have several responses. One says they love Reese's. Another one says candy corn and peanuts together taste like a salted nut roll. One is team candy corn. Thank you. I love candy corn. One says president of team candy corn. The autumn mix is confection perfection. And then another one says Lindt truffles. Like, okay, well, that's a good point. Lindt truffles.
Yeah.
You're a no candy corn.
I am no to candy corn.
I've seen some people online that are like, candy corn is what happened when people were trying to put together a Halloween decoration and accidentally ate it.
Yeah. Dentists tell us that the days after Halloween are often their busiest due to broken teeth and braces. And they also report that some candy is actually better than others. I don't know if that makes sense to you. But Dr. Cami Haas is a dentist and oral expert. She told ABC News that chocolate is preferable to hard candies.
It melts away right away and doesn't linger in your mouth. The worst candies are the ones that could break your teeth or chip your teeth, like jawbreakers or break a bracket. I'm an orthodontist, so it's no wonder Halloween happens to be on the same month as National Orthodontic Month. So anything that's really sticky to the teeth or they can damage your teeth or brackets, those are the ones we want to avoid.
He also told ABC News about certain tips parents can follow to help their kids from getting cavities.
Before they go to trick-or-treating, you want to make sure they have a full meal so they're not hungry. Before they go trick-or-treating, also they want to brush their teeth before using a toothpaste that has nanohydroxyapatite. This particular ingredient can buffer and shield enamel against cavities. Then when they're eating candy, they should drink a lot of water. After candy, one of the biggest mistakes I see is that people want to brush their teeth right away. You should actually avoid brushing for up to about an hour.
Now, who's going to follow all those instructions?
Well, it's common sense. Look, and so you also have chewy, like gummy candy, too, that can be a problem with braces. So our little Jazzy has braces this year, and she knows she can't eat the hard stuff, but she also can't even really do like gummy bears because of the brackets. But I have a tooth story. So do you remember, they still exist, but those peanut butter taffy things that they had at Halloween time wrapped in like orange and black, but they were like hard. So I lost a molar when I was a kid trying to chew on peanut butter taffy, and I hit this crunchy thing, and I thought it was part of the candy. It was not. It was my tooth.
Yeah, gross. Yep. No, we've all broken a tooth on hard candy, and I'm not a fan of hard candy anyway. I like soft candy, but I do like frozen chocolate candies.
That's
like
interesting.
Frozen Snickers. I just love them.
Yeah, that's interesting. We have another Team Candy Corn. Oh, and another one, Team Candy Corn. Yay! See, so you're like you're out there, man.
Can you just eat candy corn? It's like
no, but look, this is
awful.
what I do. So the autumn mix that one of our texters mentioned is you can buy it in a bag, and it's got regular candy corn, and then it's got like the candy corn with chocolate as the bottom layer, chocolate-ish as the bottom layer, and then it's got the pumpkins that are basically candy corn and pumpkin shape. But I have made a mix for a long time. The kids used to eat a lot more than we do now. Now it's mostly decoration. But candy corn, autumn mix, and Halloween colored M&Ms. So the brown and the orange.
We're
and
all in
it
trouble.
looks really good. And we basically, I'm going to throw it out on Saturday because nobody really eats it anymore. But
if you make a candy corn face on a sugar cookie, I'll eat it. That's about the only time I eat
I've done
candy
that
corn.
too. I've done that too. So let us know if you're team candy corn or team anything else, 57500, because we're getting down to the day.
And you said that actually today is
National Candy Corn Day.
Like,
yep, indeed.
Candy corn does not deserve a day. and I'm sorry I had to learn that today, but I'm not going to go enjoy any candy corn. I can tell you
You are so funny. Okay, I do have somebody says no candy corn. Okay,
Yay.
All right, they're on your team. Okay, I do have a couple of fun facts for today. So this first one, not fun, actually. So on October 30th, 1838, a mob of more than 200, it's about 240 people, they think, attacked a small community at Hans Mill in Missouri. That was a Mormon community at the time, and they were there was about 15 to 20 families, but they decided that they were going to eliminate the Mormon threat from their community. 240 came and attacked, killed 17 men and boys, injured 15 others. It was just really a horrible, horrible tragedy basically in LDS history.
Almost 200 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, 1838. In 1873, P.T. Barnum's Circus, the greatest show on earth, debuted in New York City. So P.T. Barnum was a real person, right? The Greatest Showman. That movie was really great with the music, but he was a real person, and he debuted his circus in 1873.
The circus isn't as big as it used to be.
No, there's been, in fact, I think most circuses have gone away, and P.T. Barnum's actually has ended as well.
Oh.
There's a lot of stuff with how the animals were treated and things like that.
They
But
got some bad
yeah,
PR.
but anyway, 1873. So you won't remember hearing this one, but you probably remember the story. So in 1938, there was a radio broadcast, and Orson Welles was doing the War of the Worlds broadcast. And when people tuned in, they did not realize that it was a fictional story being told. And there were a number of people who thought that there was a real alien invasion coming from space. There was a lot of panic. That was on October 30th, 1938.
He had sound effects.
Oh,
he had
my goodness.
People, if you listen to it, and I could see if you joined that midterm, while he was about 5 minutes into it, you might think, oh, my word, we're being invaded by some, alien planet.
I know. And now, like we have, I'm sure the sound effects were nothing like we have today, right? But people believed when they tuned in that this was a real thing. Okay, just a couple more texters. Candy corn, and yes, it deserves a national day. And it has to be the brand with the chocolate layer. Somebody else says Team Candy Corn, another Team Candy Corn. Somebody says no to candy corn, chocolate, or Nerds, those crunchy little candies.
Yep.
Somebody else says Tootsie Rolls. Candy corn's okay, but not my favorite.
Well, that's it for Inside Sources today. We'll be back for tomorrow for Halloween, and coming up on midday with Maria Chaleos. She has the latest on a new approach to combat the state's housing crisis, especially with two local nonprofits. Stay tuned on KSL News Radio.
KSL Salt Lake